All right. And we are finally live. The last word, LordCognito, Ebontis, Ty Guy, Travis, fresh on this controversial Thursday evening
Shouldn't be, but yeah,
campfire.
that's fine.
But you know, we gotta have some fun with it, man. We gotta have some fun with it.
Thursday's
E,
always controversial.
always
Yeah, because
controversial.
we're live.
Yeah, always.
Because we're live. E, the cheetah, how we doing, sir?
Yeah, going around tracks as fast as I can. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Forza. I did review it, but I wasn't happy with my review, so I actually want to kind of just do a better job for practice for myself. So I'm going to post it back up for the public launch later. I myself gave it an 8 because I don't know if I could quite get to a 9 now. I do feel like the platform will be like a 9 later because you got Nürburgring, you got a couple tracks coming. They're going to be doing cars that will get there, couple tweaks, but it's like, what are the main things you do in a Forza game? You drive. The driving experience is absolutely fantastic. Like,
so they got that.
The physics are good, the weather effects, the lighting, the new tracks, the cars. I drove a 650 horsepower Corvette rear wheel drive in the rain and had fun. Like, I got a loose rear end going around corners, but it's like, I don't know the last time
Travis,
I could control a slide around a corner the way I was. Come on, it's a car thing.
You said it was very pause-worthy.
I did,
bro.
I did set you up on the words. Don't lie, I crash. I do crash plenty, but
yes.
But it's just like I had goofy fun doing that, but I'm also like the Rivals driving where you're like shaving off like tenths and thousandths and hundredths of a second to beat that next ghost. I love that part. So I could sit in there for way too long, having fun in the career. The AI will give you a run for your money. Now I'm doing this all on my... Apparently I'm greened out right now, so... You can't even see it on camera.
You can't even see it. Yo,
yeah, there's the back of it.
So funny.
But I went to... My other Xbox Series controller just died, so I went to Best Buy and did the Best Buy protection. So per cog.
Best. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the best hustle in the business. Absolutely.
So did that and then been playing and I have been having fun. But the other main thing you do in this game is you get cars and you upgrade them. The upgrade process,
let's go,
has
issues.
I know what they're going for. I can say that as like, and I think they've said it in videos too. They're like, you're not going to own like 500 cars. You're going to have like your set cars. You're going to fall in love with them. My issue with the upgrade process is you don't get a lot of choice so you level up a car, which I actually like the concept of, like, as you drive a segment well, drive it even better, you get a few more car XP points.
Positive reinforcement.
Yeah, it's like you're getting that dopamine hit constantly.
Yep. Very kudos.
Yeah. The problem is, as you get car levels and you unlock certain upgrades, it is the same upgrade on every car in the order. So if you want, hey, weight reduction, level 20, no matter what car it's on. If it is available on that car, it's always level 20. There's no variation. There's no choice in how you upgrade. The other issue with that is, like, so if they're always on the same level, the problem is, like, what if the first thing I want to do to my Corvette is just put tires on it? Maybe it takes me a few levels to get there, but as soon as I get to that level, I do like the fact that the car points are just exchangeable. It's not money.
Yes.
So like the car points are just change out here, turn this on, turn this off. Cool. I love the quick exchange. But if the first thing I want to go for is a tire compound upgrade, just like, let me put stickier tires on my Corvette. I'll unlock it in a few levels. Let's see how this feels. I have to get to level 11 no matter what. I get no choice to do that early. So there's no choice in what you want to upgrade. And then there's also, it's the same upgrade path for every single car. So whether it's like a race car or a spec Miata, you're doing the same thing every time. Now, as you level up and go slowly, and this is where I can see what they're going after. If you take a stock car and then you buy it and you have like $20 million after playing the game for a while, turn it into a rocket ship, and the average person tries to drive it, you're going to run into walls and all the other, like, it's going to be hard to control. If you start with the stock car, then you get a little more power, then you add some springs, then you get some better brakes, then you add some better tire, and you do this gradual progression, you're going to get faster with the car as you build up your knowledge and how the car feels. So I get what they're going for, but early on, that'll actually probably feel okay. Later on, when I do have 20 million credits, I'm like, I could buy 20 cars, but it's also going to take me 50 hours to level up all those cars.
Level them up,
And like one thing I worry about, you're going to see like tape or something on the gas pedal, and you're going to turn on full assists on like 100 lap race, and people are going to level up while they sleep. And that, I think, is one of those pieces of feedback long term that I don't know if they'll change it, but that's my one main gripe. The courses are a little limited right now, but it's because they rebuilt the whole damn thing from literally the surface of the
Limited
ground
as
up.
far as the
Total.
amount of tracks? Okay.
Yeah.
So in past Forza games, there would be more, or just in general, there's generally more
I mean,
tracks.
even in 7, there was more, but they also said they rebuilt all of them from scratch. So
Got
they're
it,
working
got
on
it.
like Yas Marina's next month. They've got another one in December. The iconic Nürburgring Nordschleife is like a 12-mile track, and it's like one that everybody knows, but also that's going to be in spring of 24.
Got it. Okay.
So it's
I see what's going on.
well, it's like a year from now, probably a 9. Right now, with just kind of the current status and my issue with the upgrade system, it's an 8. But I will tell you, the driving experience, fan-freaking-tastic.
Got the core thing.
The other thing is I want to play Cocoon, and I just don't have time. But that game, I've heard great things. A buddy of mine played it and beat it, and it's from the other half of the Limbo and Inside guys, because one was Somerville, and this is the other one.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, IGN gave it a 9. I've only heard great things, so yeah, I definitely want to play that. So
yeah, I got to check it out. Those are my people.
Yep. So that's what I've been doing,
No doubt.
and I'm waiting for Lords of the Fallen. Hopefully soon.
Trav, what
Yeah,
2000...
it's like how those eyebrows are doing, bud.
Yeah. What 2000 games are you reviewing, sir? What's going on with you?
I'm actually just reviewing one game right now. Although I think since we last spoke, I got the High on Knife review out for the DLC.
What's that?
Is that like a couple hours or something?
It's a 2-hour DLC.
Okay.
Which is like just enough time to remember how to play the game, and then it ends. So it's kind of unfortunate, but yeah, it's a fine game, but 2 hours, it's not really worth dusting that one off. I gave it a 6, and then I'm like 30 hours into Lords of the Fallen. Lords of the Fallen 2. Let's be honest, it's 2. It's the sequel. They're just calling it the Lords of the Fallen. I guess in an attempt for people to forget that Lords of the Fallen 1 was a thing. But yeah, I can't talk about that, but my review will be out on the 12th. And if you like Souls-likes, you probably should look out for my review, because it's a Souls-like. It's a Souls-like game. So.
Nice. Yeah, for me, I don't even know. Can we talk about Assassin's Creed Mirage yet, Trav?
It's public. I mean, the reviews are out.
It's
okay.
The review embargo lifted today.
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah.
We got it late, so I'm just new. So yeah, I'll play.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
a
I got a code at embargo. I'm like,
yeah, I'm just like, all right, I guess this is what it is. So no, it's all good. But yeah, I was having fun with it. You know, obviously I'm a classic Assassin's Creed guy, the old school, the one which you move between the crowds and you do all your little Jerusalem stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I like it so far. You know, I'm more about the heavy stealth focus. The control's a little issue for me, but so far so good. You know, I can't complain too much. I like what I was playing. And then I was playing this little turn-based game.
You can't complain too much? This is a foreign concept to me.
Not too much. So for me, then I was playing this little indie joint. I mean, it's actually in Game Pass. It's called
Lamplighters. Yeah.
Lamplighters League. I previewed that game.
Oh, okay. What was your thoughts of the preview? I'm very curious what your thoughts are.
I thought it was a really interesting concept. So what's this is super weird. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't expect this to come up today, but what's weird is this version of this preview. I've never had this happen before in my 15 years of doing this for games. They gave us a preview, and I downloaded it and I opened it up, and it was an old version of the game from a year and a half ago. When apparently their entire premise of this game was completely different, where it was like a map-based, like almost like Risk, where you were like going into Risk encounters and doing fights and stuff. And so I accidentally played that for like 4 hours without realizing it wasn't the right thing. And the entire time I was thinking, this doesn't even look like the same game. Like it doesn't have like the 1920s like vibe. Yeah. I was like, what is this game? It's so random. And then I finally backed out and I looked at the trailer and I was like, okay, something is going on, because I have like the wrong version of this game. And then I downloaded it and I played the new one, and it was like, I mean, that was like a glass of cold water after playing that, like, because you could tell like it was so unpolished, dude. It was honestly, it was kind of insightful, because after I did the preview, I went back and I played the old version that I had access to, and I was just kind of comparing them. I was like, wow, look at game development. These guys really changed like a lot about this game. It's kind of crazy. So
that's dope.
But yeah, my thoughts were it's pretty good. I mean, I know that's your bag, dude. Those turn-based stuff. I thought the game did a really good job at like telling story and having like I like that it had like stealth sections in between because it's not like XCOM where you do a small encounter and then you go back to the base. You do a small encounter and then you have like a little bit of like interlude where you do stealth and stuff and then another encounter starts. I thought that was cool. I did think I mean, I only played like the first like 3 hours in the preview, but I felt like it was a little simple for the XCOM thing. Like it was just very like straightforward and stuff, but it could be really good. And that team seems like they're like they know what they're doing. So I like the boss fight I played. Cool.
Yeah, I liked it too. Yeah, it's funny we have the same kind of analysis of it. I was thrown off because as a turn-based guy, I'm used to, you start the match and then, here's the tactical stuff and, your turn, my turn. The game starts off, you're like exploring and walking around in real time and then it was like stealth sections, like you said. Then you can switch between like one character was really stealthy, another character was like the bruiser kind of thing. And then you have these things you could do in real time that are a limited amount of times you can knock people out, do stuff. But then it was very like limited. And then after a certain amount of time, you now have to engage. And that's when you initiate real turn-based. So I was like, this is interesting. At first I was starting off not liking it. And then I was like, this is kind of interesting. This is a unique kind of take on it. So yeah, I thought it was decent. So clearly I'm still liking it. I'm still playing it. So, I want to get a little farther with it. But I've been doing that. And then what was the second thing? I was just AC Milan. And then obviously this game we play, Destiny. I finally started to play. I put in a lot of hours.
How's the new game experience been for you? As a new player.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm just so glad when I came in, it was post-patch. It was no baboons and centipedes and error codes and that I had to avoid. So I played Trials as well. So yeah, I couldn't believe it. Lots to talk about. And obviously we'll talk about the seasonal story stuff. But yeah, finish that up. But it was fun to be back. It's been a minute, and I definitely got some good RNG on the Lost Sector on my first try. I got my Warlock gloves, the ones that give you the Void Souls consistently.
The which ones?
You ain't hit that new Warlock joint where you on Void and you throw the little child of the old guys.
Oh yeah.
And then you could pick it back up, throw it again, and have multiple draining. And that thing is nice. I like it.
That's cool.
I love when your exotics are fun to use and beneficial for your class.
Hey now, how's going on the Titan side of things?
What's that like?
That's what I was wondering. Must be nice. Weird concept. Anyway, as we're a little late to start the show, we can jump into the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So, Destiny 2 season finale quest occurred this week. I do believe we all played it. Give me your IGN rating out of 10 for the season finale, and then also just the story in general.
I will give it a 7 for both.
Okay.
Meaning good, not great. So I really like that this felt like a proper story where we're actually doing stuff and getting things done. My biggest criticism is that Bungie continues, and this is a problem with lots of EUs, lots of expanded universe things, is that they're afraid to make big decisions because they know not everybody's playing. And so they have this weird problem where they have to neatly put all the pieces back right where they started at the beginning of the season. And so they had to bring Eris back to Earth, and they had to, have all the bad guys go away. And really the only thing that changed was Savathun's now out and about, although she's, not near here, so it doesn't really affect the player too much. So I thought it was cool. I'm glad that something actually got done, but again, it's it's a Xivu, a Wrath problem that normal players won't have known anything about, and they, it's just weird that you can completely miss Eris Morn becoming the most powerful hive god and all that stuff. If you didn't play the season, you could just not know that happened and be like, oh, where's Eris? Goofy old Eris.
What's that lady do? It's like she could have ruled the entire universe if she wanted,
Yeah, I tweeted this out. Nobody liked my tweet, but I tweeted that Eris Morn is now the George Washington of Destiny because she had this opportunity to seize control and become a a dictator, and she was like, "No, you know what? I'm gonna let it ride. You guys,
that is not an analogy I expected to hear tonight. That's an interesting one, but it's fitting.
It's very,
it
works. She refused the crown. I think there's not that many people historically who have ever done that, and apparently now one of them is a creepy three-eyed lady. So pretty cool.
Cog rating. So
what
the
was
finale rating, and then the Season of the Witch story rating.
I like the story a lot, so I'm gonna say 8 for the story. I do have some pushback with Ikora's involvement, because in the beginning she was like, "All right, let's do it. I'm worried," and then she's giving me conflicting messaging during whether or not she wanted Eris to do what she needed to do, and then it was clear like Eris is doing this, and I don't know. She just give me mixed. I'm like, are you in or are you out? I guess that was my thing with her. But at the end of the day, though, I do like that she was, she's being utilized, because remember, this is character. Let's be honest, we don't get a lot. I feel sometimes, so I like that interaction. I felt the Hive stuff was good. I
feel like Ikora was around for kind of like the hidden, and they were watching over Savathun's body, and there was like that kind of tie-in, but it was a little loose.
The reason why the story's an 8 for me is Imaru is the star of the show. I am here for all the Imaru foolishness. He is like the little mob boss of the Hive. He reminds me of like some Italian dude who's like, this ain't gonna work. Well, she's gonna run on there. She's gonna get killed. He's always negative and pestering, and he's just hilarious. Go ahead. You want to jump in on tomorrow? I can see.
I have to jump in one thing on tomorrow, because I agree with you. Like, theoretically, I want to agree that I like Maru. I think whoever is writing his dialogue is doing a terrible job, because his comebacks aren't good. I can tell whoever wrote him is probably a nice person who isn't good at being mean, and they need someone like me in the room.
Too nice,
yeah.
It'd be like me writing Amaru, and it needs to be Travis writing Amaru.
Yeah, they need a Travis in the room who has roasted people for money and just like to write the dialogue. Because there was a line this week that actually made me put down the controller and cringe, which was that he was like, what was the something about we're gonna have graves or whatever. He said, here's what it'll say on your tombstone.
Yes,
and then Eris was like, oh no, we're not. That's not going to be what's on our tombstone. And then he's like, that's right, because you won't have one.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude. Is that literally the best you can come up with? Like,
my thing with him though is he talks so strong, right? And then when the beef finally happens,
he dips.
Bro.
Yeah.
He was like, we gotta get out of here. Oh my God, they got. I know about that one. He's coming. They're gonna destroy us all. Like, I'm dipping. I'm like, yo, what is this guy?
He's a little punk ass bitch.
Yeah, he's just like a fake little mob boss. Then I find out, like, bro, you really don't want to. He's like, I'm gonna be like, Finch, maybe, because right now I'm in control of the Hive. If Savathun's not here, I'm like, yo, this dude is shiesty. He gave me entertainment. I have to admit, every scene I was entertained, looking forward to what he was gonna do. So the story for me was 8 off of that. Now the finale. All right, I love what they tried to do, right? They had it set up perfect. Okay, this is the moment we in the room, Savathun's body. We like, okay. Then I hear what's her name? Deborah Green? Is that her name? What's the actress's name? Whatever.
No,
I forget, but I hear that voice. And then she goes on to Eris, and she's like, "Ooh, I like the glow up. You got
one shot, homie. What the
one shot?" And I'm like, "Damn." That like that quick, and then
Deborah Wilson. Sorry, I was like, I knew that.
Deborah Wilson. Thank y'all. And I'm like, when I hear her voice, I just melt. I'm like, I love her. So, and she's like, one shot, and it was so abrupt. And then I'm like, all right. Then we get the classic line. Oh my God, Eris Morn is now the most powerful Hive because of this. Then
by the way, the explanation there, I also kind of take issue with, because they were like, oh, she hasn't been killed by a Hive. And I was like, well, she was killed by a Guardian though. So is it a fact that Guardians can't initiate sword logic? Because she should have had no power, right? If she was killed by a guardian like seconds ago. I felt like I danced around the
sword logic stuff.
Yeah,
I'll be honest, it got more confusing to me, Travis, because like Xivu and Wrath is just crazy. Like, do you just listen to her during these? What is it? The summoning? I don't know what she's talking about. Like, 1 minute it's like, we're sisters. Come on, bloodshed, death, violence. I don't know what her true motive. I think she's just so caught up in the ooga booga of the sword logic. I don't know what's going on with her. I cannot tell you. But as far as that, she I guess Eris forsakes the thing to get Xivu's throne world power cut off, which I get. But the main thing that I have the most problem with is some of the best stuff is not in the cutscene. And I'm a guy that usually after I beat a cutscene, I really don't read the lore. When the lore books open up, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I actually read it because I was like shaking what happened. So I'm just like, all right. I'm like, yo, how they gonna leave all this part out about, Savathun, the collateral, the thing? She's still alive. She's still, and then she had a great comeback. Like, yeah, I deserve that, whatever. And it was just so much Savathun left on the table. So I have to assume that budget-wise or whatever, that was enough. That's all they could do because it's so much good content. There was also Saint and Osiris. It was great stuff afterwards.
It's the season after the next expansion, right? Like the first episode. Like, isn't that that's where we're fighting Xivu?
No, I think that'll be the third episode, right? The first one's Vex, second one's Scorn, third one I think.
All I remember is I saw the Hive one, and my first thought was, okay, so that's when I'll get to rub it and Cog and E's face that I was right about Xivu fully being an EU character, and I think this pretty much, I mean. We can agree this is not coming up in
Final
shape, right? Like she's an EU
seems
character.
It seems like she's going to be post-final.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay the fact that we didn't kill. You finish your thoughts and then I'll go.
No, I'm pretty much done. No, I'm done. You go yet? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, I'm okay with the fact that we didn't kill Xivu in, a season because she's a Hive God. Granted, little different status at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I am 100% with you though. When I read all of that stuff that happened with Savathun afterwards, I'm like, this would be Deborah Wilson shining. She would absolutely destroy everything that would be said in that entire lore entry. Just, her delivery in those lines. I'm like, I'm almost sitting there picturing it as I'm reading it and be like, oh yeah, you can keep Imaro. And he'd be like, what? No. And then she flies off and just. And
yeah,
it was
you're
like
talking about the thing that was waved off in one voice line. After the cutscene where they're like, oh yeah, we're keeping Amaru as a prisoner and she's leaving. Yeah, because I didn't read the lore entry, but I got all of that. But in the logistics, I was like, oh, that's funny. We just didn't see any.
Yeah, I can't boot up the game. I can't
out on the
lore entry. Yeah, I can't find the lore
just
entry.
running around to
read it, but yeah, Savathun. I think she went back to her throne world. That's I think what I gathered somewhere is that she's probably back in her throne world.
No, doesn't she not have access to the throne world?
No, she does. Eris removed Xivu's access to her throne world.
Yes, Xivu's removed.
She banished her from her throne world. So Xivu
which
now
loses her power. She could
kind
be
of in a sense
now.
mortal, basically.
Yeah, she could be murdered now.
So that was a different twist.
Mortal.
Yeah,
Savathun is
still a Hive Guardian.
Yeah, she's a guardian,
but
she also has a throne world, so she's doubly immortal.
Yeah, kill her once, she'll get rezzed. Kill her twice, she'll get rezzed in her throne world. Like who knows? But I mean, the mission was fine. I mean, you're fighting the big dude. I had Solar Hammer on and wasn't a big deal.
Nice.
It's funny how easily you take down that all powerful.
Yeah,
it's like
Amaru's like, no, he's gonna kill us all. Yeah,
he's gonna kill us all. They're coming.
And then we just nuke him.
As soon as I hit him with one thing, I was like, this guy ain't shit. I got this.
Yeah, and that is what I expect a seasonal boss to be, though. That is exactly what I expect a seasonal boss energy. Yeah.
Facts.
So it's like I'm glad that wasn't Xivu that we did that to, because that would have been messed up. That would have sucked. I didn't see the twist of. Granted, I forget who was saying it. Might have been Tassie or somebody. Was building up the two gods fighting with all this power and stuff like that. And then Amaru's doesn't have the power. What's up, Savathun? Shink. And like,
bro.
And then she's taken all the power and be like, wait, she's got the power of all of the ties that we did, what we just killed, on top of everything from Savathûn. She's the most powerful hive god ever. And then she chooses to banish Xivu from her. So she did like the one thing kind of like that was an option. It's kind of like they're stuck in some tough spots in writing right now, but they're actually like, because I mean, similar thing at Seraph. Only thing you could do is destroy Red. Only thing you can do is destroy Rasputin, because either way, if he's on, he's going to be in a trouble thing. So then you've got this turnaround. It's like
a trouble thing.
A trouble thing.
Are we just going to gloss over that he said a trouble thing?
Trouble thing.
I don't know. I feel like we
Rasputin's going to be a world ender, a traveler destroyer. Is that better?
I'm gonna start calling you that whenever you do
a trouble
something.
thing.
Trouble thing.
You're a trouble thing.
Trouble thing.
No, that's your title. That's what you are. You're a trouble thing.
Don't try to put this on me, trouble thing. I don't know. You came up with the word. All right.
Well, it was all for you, so enjoy it. That's your new title. I'll just change your podcast instead of your Twitter handle. It's just trouble thing.
Trouble thing.
Trouble thing, Travis.
Trouble thing, Travis. I kind of like that.
Travis. The triple T. Trouble thing, Travis, and it's just gonna be like trouble thing, tie guy. Yeah, trouble thing, Travis actually sounds better, but trouble thing, tie guy would be better.
Trouble thing, Travis. Trouble thing, tie guy.
The last trouble thing podcast.
Trouble thing sounds like a villain in a Dr. Seuss book.
That is 100% accurate. That's
hilarious.
That's the best description. But I was like, what I was saying, like Rasputin, the only way to resolve that situation is for her to turn him off. And that was what she had to do. This is kind of a similar situation. If you fight Xivu in any way, that is all she wants. She being the god of war. So being given the option to have all this power and attack her might be able to kill her, or you have the option to use that power, go against the sword logic, which we'll see how that all plays out, but to just destroy her connection to her throne world and take that away was kind of one of those things that I didn't expect. I didn't know you could do that, but I didn't expect it, which I thought I appreciated. But I'm also with you. It's like reading through the lore book going, I need Deborah Wilson to be saying all of this right, because she would absolutely kill it, man.
Killed it. Yeah.
So that was like my biggest downfall when I heard that was the thing. And then I read it and I was like, oh, you left so much on the cutting room
much
floor.
on the table. And you know what it, I interrupt you, you know what it reminded me of is when Bungie started to hint to us, oh, Savathûn's not really involved that much in Final Shape. Now I'm starting to see like this is the resolution thing with her for the most part. I hope I'm wrong, and we do get at least a cameo during Final Shape in some portion, but I almost feel like they put her in storage now again. And it's just like, I hope I'm wrong, because I just love that character.
Oh, I know. I mean,
love it.
Absolutely. Her just smug delivery of everything with it's the god of cunning. Of course she's going to be, but she does an excellent job with the delivery.
Bro, you see how she talked to Eris though before she got burnt? She's like, ooh.
That's why I was like, I don't know if anybody can find
well, girl. I was like,
I can't pull up the game right now because it would screw up the podcast. But like, there's moments in there where she's like, "Oh man, you really had me going, Eris." Like the way she's talking to her, I'm like, I want to hear this.
Hear this.
So like, that was kind of the letdown when I realized, like, when it ended, like in game, I'm like, that's fine. Like, I didn't imagine the sweep. She's still a Hive Guardian. Amaru can res her, but I was like, they didn't show it on screen. And then I read that, and I'm like, oh, could have been so much better. I mean, the fight
show her on screen for a reason, though. It's because it's. I mean, I don't know why they didn't show it on screen. I guess because it's not super pertinent to the main story that they were telling. But like the fact that she's out there and alive, I mean, that's a future.
Yeah,
of course. I mean, that'll be like the Hive fight with Xivu maybe later on.
We getting a season of the Savathûn or something at some point.
That'll be the
I just want her part of the Avengers, though. That's all. I just want her at least some cunning involvement, to like,
I feel like that's kind of what we were hoping for, was like building up the Avengers, because you had Cabal and you had the Cabal, so you had Caiatl and you had Callus. Then you're going to have Eris and Mithrax. Then you're going to have Savathûn and Xivu. And you're going to have this like big clash, like the end of Endgame. And now we're literally just like, we've taken out Callus. We've mortalized Xivu. Is Aramis? Is that the right one for Mithrax?
Yeah, I think it's Aramis. Yeah.
So Aramis is, kind of wandering. She's not that powerful. She's a fallen, but we've taken out plenty of fallen stuff. So it's like all of the icons that had decent amount of power, we've kind of taken a leg out from underneath them. So now it truly is like us versus the Witness.
Yes.
And there's not too much standing in between us at this point, as opposed to this, giant collective thing that we were going to put together. So
it is a little disappointing that we never got the coalition completed, because we're working with the Fallen and the.
I agree.
We're working with the Fallen. We're working with the Cabal.
That's what I'm talking about.
We kind of assumed that the Hive, there was already a pretty good way to get them on our team, because we knew Savathun wasn't all that bad, and we are Hive Guardians. So clearly, the Traveler thinks that the Hives have something to offer the light, and so it's a little weird to just, at least so far as we know, have that plot thread not come to fruition, because it's gonna feel weird if we never get a reason for why the Traveler gave the Hive the light. Because my assumption was that the Traveler saw some good in the Hive and their potential to be allies against the Witness.
It's like we have one season, and that just doesn't seem like enough time.
I kind of thought that would be what this story was about in the end, is us bringing Savathun back, and then us finding out, you know what, the Hive have done bad things, but clearly the Traveler thought that they were good, that they could be good. So let's work with them. And it seems weird that we've just sort of let Savathun go it seems like a really important loose thread to have going into the final confrontation, because I bet we don't hear anything from Xivu or Savathun in the final shape. And
I agree.
We still haven't really resolved any of the Vex stuff. How are they going to feel about the Witness showing up? It just seems.
I feel like that's specifically the Vex is right after Final Shape. That is the first episode. So
that's the first episode.
Events of Final Shape.
That one might get touches, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they didn't really have any major involvement in the Final Shape.
So what is next season? Because now Savathun's saying we have what we need, which that wasn't really spelled out.
Before we get into next, I do want to comment on two things about this season. The reason why what Travis said is so accurate, and it bothers me so much about the unresolved thing with Savathun, is because during the lore of this season, you kind of relate to. She's like, "Look, I had the right plan. We're supposed to take him, the Traveler, lock it away, but you stupid Guardians will mess up. But now you need me." And then each week, that part. And then the other thing is, have you guys done the what is it, Umbaru engine?
Yeah,
thing?
I did both sides of it,
bro. That is excellent stuff. It's one is cunning, and then you have to do it with the chest things. They're still not finished though. It's still a third part that we have to do, right? Which they haven't unlocked yet.
There's more radio messages. It's like the season isn't quite done.
Quite over
but the
yet.
Quest is done.
Yeah. Correct.
That's a little weird.
I was just like, man, there's so much here with her. And to have her just, we're gonna let her go. We have collateral though, and in back of my mind, I was like, this is gonna backfire. So I don't see this imposing this strength and control over Savathun lasting long. So again, I'm just hoping that at minimums there's involvement with her in the final shape. But I don't know, man. It was, to me, it's an opportunity lost to just put her on the shelf and not use her at all for final shape. What's she making that face?
No.
He got mischievous face.
Shout out to Alvin for a $5 super chat. He's like, need Cog and Ebontis to give a real quick 1 to 10 rating on Sturm, Merciless, and Black Talon. No reason Travis already aced this question. I think of this from PvE because I don't do that much PvP. So I was like, Sturm and PvE is not good. I could have easily been even lower, but I gave it a 2. Merciless, it's okay if you want to have fun, and it did get a bit of a buff, but I don't think it's it could be better than I'm thinking, but I gave it a 7. And then Black Talon, I just don't know if it does anything that different than a legendary sword, especially the caster type, so I gave it a 6. So I was like, I could be way off, but that's...
Yeah, Sturm, not good. I mean, it's okay, 5, you know what I'm saying? But Merciless is actually really good. I'm giving Merciless an 8. Sturm is good. If you dragging Sturm, you lit. I'm telling you, it's not as bad as people think. Merciless, I give an 8. That's really good. And Black Talon, that's like a 4 for me. I don't really use Black Talon like that, to be honest.
So Travis, since apparently you aced the question with him, what did you say?
Sturm is a 10, you guys.
What?
You guys are, Sturm is great. I didn't even think this would be controversial.
I don't.
Are
to
you
be
talking
honest,
about
I don't-
PvP or PvE?
PvE or PvP? PvP is I heard it's really good. The 120s. I think it's a 120.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would use it for both personally.
Okay.
I think was this 3 Geeks who asked this? Who was this?
Alvin.
Alvin. Yeah, I think Alvin and I
Do you
just
know
agree on
Theodore,
this.
perhaps?
Oh my god.
Theodore.
Messy.
I guess Alvin and I just disagree agree on this one because I answered this question on a different podcast when he super chatted it, and he was just like, "Yep, aced it for all three." So I think I gave higher for all three of those.
Merciless is really good.
Merciless, I think I gave an 8, Black Talon a 9 or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, I mean, I think Sturm is great in PvE.
Well, in your defense, the hand cannon buff is really good this season. Have you tried hand cannons in like Red PvE Con? It's really good. So in fairness, I haven't gone back to Sturm since
I haven't played that much.
Yeah,
Sturm has been good since it came out. Like it's one of the few weapons that's gone under the radar as being like reliable option ever since. PvP. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mess with Sturm. I like also the feel of it. The feel of it when you shoot it. Oh.
It's just it's a kinetic hand cannon, and for me, taking the exotic slot, it doesn't do anything special enough to me to take the exotic slot. So in a PvE mode, it doesn't justify taking up the exotic, especially in a primary department. That's why it's so hard for me to put a primary exotic on in general. That's not something unique already, like an Arbalist as a linear fusion, break shields, like depending on what I'm doing, it doesn't serve me much purpose, but that's the content that I
it's old reliable. It's just not flashy. It almost has Revision Zero kind of energy where it's like, yo, it's good, right? It's thing, but at least Revision Zero has like anti-barrier, or Outbreak has like a little Steven nanites happen after you do something.
Sometimes I think people get distracted by like the fanciness of the perk and like how outlandish and weird it is, and overlook the fact that sometimes boring weapons
are effective,
are the best ones.
No, that's valid.
But also, like, if you want to really use it, you've got to use Drang, and then you're limited into a hand cannon and a sidearm, which
cripples your flexibility of your loadout. It's effective. Yeah. You basically have to commit to the style. That's what it is. And if you commit, you're good.
So
I did say that, didn't I?
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so
I didn't mean to.
Overall story this season, pretty good. I think that like 7 to 8 range for just like seeing Eris build up, do the tithes, and then severing Xivu on and overall. The finale kind of came in with, I don't want to say like a wet fart, but a stage above that. Because it was just like, kill the dude. The cinematic was cool, but then when I realized how much was waiting, I was like, I want the other half of that now. So it's, the more I knew, it's like ignorance is bliss almost. Like the end of the cutscene, like she takes it, then you realize she, detached Xivu from her throne world. I'm like, cool. That's, not a bad way to go. Didn't see that twist coming. And then you read what it could have been. I was like, oh, it could have been way better. So I think that's
all. My question is, why couldn't Savathun be a part of the final shape and the hive on our side?
She could,
but what is the advantage of her being spirited away for a couple seasons and coming back? I think at this point, I mean, they paid it for a season though. They're not going to pay it for their main expansion to have a voice actress.
She is everywhere.
I mean,
she's a Jedi.
Love to see her in it.
What you call it?
She was a Jedi Survivor.
What happened to your Sony money, Cog? That you swore to me that they were going to have a ton of money and that they were going to get.
Man, I've been on an apology tour. Every time I sing your name, every podcast, I'm like, Travis, they might be right with this brain drain. I've been singing your praises. Damn it! Let me take my LMP.
No, my point is, I don't think it's the cost thing. I don't know. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they could have a different creative decision. They're telling the story, not me. But like, it just seems to me like a total missed opportunity to not have that faction of the Hive and pay off on that, because I think everyone knew that when the Traveler gave the light to Savathun, that Savathun was eventually going to be a good guy, or at least that faction of the Hive was going to find the way of the light. I feel like that's a promise. It's like a promise that Bungie made that we're not going to see pay off in the finale, and that just feels weird. Just feels weird to me. Like, why didn't they just?
I know.
It would have it would have been so good. And I still feel that way about the Vex with old man
boy.
Travis.
Yeah. Old man Travis.
Old man Travis.
I love him.
I feel I forgot the guy's name. I always do.
Asher Mir.
Asher Mir. Yeah. How could I forget that? Somebody said, did I tell you that somebody heard Asher Mir talking in a Destiny mission and they thought I was on the phone with them? They thought I was in a party chat. It was my best friend's fiance. My best friend's fiance heard Asher Mir come out of the TV and said, "Oh, are you in a party with Travis?" And I was like, wow, she roasted me like super hard on that. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, I still feel that way about Asher Mir. I feel like they could have used their time a little better and had Asher Mir kind of take over a faction of the Vex and this Savathun thing to pay off. And I feel like it could have had a better. It just feels weird to only have half of the factions on your team for the finale. You know,
bro, I hope
especially
especially
not you're missing the most interesting one. The Hive.
She's the most intriguing character. And especially the whole the giving her the light, that whole payoff of the Hive have been tricked, and all this time the enemy that we thought was deceived. Such a beautiful storyline. So again, I'm just holding out hope that maybe I just at least have her like a scene where it's like where she just shows up with the Hive and like saves the day. It saves
that's
the day.
The moment I want.
Give her a moment. Just
cool.
give her a moment, and we have to recognize that without her. It turned the tide, because obviously right now all they're paying off is we need her to get through the portal. She knows how to get through the portal. Like, all right, cool, but she needs to be an active participant in this war. Like, this is too critical. So I'm 100%.
I agree, especially since she's against the Witness. She has like a history of fighting against them after having worked with them. Yeah. She would be like a super useful informant, since she knows the most about the Witness.
I hope she comes back some way next season.
I feel like if they do the Han Solo moment, as Mike called it in the comments, if they do the Han Solo moment with Savathun, then that means they can't do it with the Vex as well. And I feel like they could have had Savathun join up here and then had maybe Asher Mir show up with the faction of the Vex for that. Because I don't know. Again, this is just my vision for how I would have done it, but it kind of feels weird going to the final battle without all the factions united in some way.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
They're almost divided more than they ever could be at this point. So strange. Yeah, I mean, we have apparently a couple more radio messages. You said the Embargo engine. I know we've got another chamber that we aren't completely done with. There's a couple.
Think we get an exotic? What do you think we getting out of that?
I mean, what if we got exotics this season? I'm trying to think. We got
the seasonal one, which is the little grenade launcher, the arc one that has a little butterfly. I'm starting to like that now. At first I didn't like it. Now I'm starting to like it.
You can have some moments, yeah.
I like, because you don't have to reload. You could just keep shooting. It doesn't do high damage, but you don't have to. And you can start blinding.
To reload is pretty sweet.
Yeah, for a grenade launch, I like that.
We got that one. We got Necrochasm with the raid.
Bro, I have not even done Crowd. I have not done that raid. I gotta get in there.
I've done it.
I haven't done that raid
once. Travis, you said you cleared it this week. Or
cleared what?
Crota, you cleared it
once. Oh yeah. I'm doing weekly Crota runs with a group on Fridays. So I did it for the first time. We tried to do it the week before, but the servers were just so bad after one encounter, it crashed. So we did our first clear last week, and I mean it's basically the same raid. The only changes really are that new buff that you have to carry around, which kind of just feels a little bit like a chore. But yeah, I mean it's the same raid.
Gotcha.
It's decent, but I also played it 50 times like 10 years ago. So
I got you. Because we still got seasonal messages, and that's it, right?
Yeah, seasonal messages, the one more Embargo Chamber. It seems like the way the Embargo Chamber doesn't seem to justify an exotic. It doesn't seem like it's not that hard to do. Like,
right.
I mean, especially once you figure out the chest the first time, and then you know which ones to shoot the second time. You're like 1, 2, and like, unless there's something there that I'm...
You did the second part yet? Yeah. With the skip over and all that? I just like it as a nice change of pace versus, okay, this week do this mission, or do the seasonal content. I thought it was like interesting. I thought it was a nice little mix up.
Yeah, I mean, activity-wise, we've had the Embargo engine, we have a couple bespoke missions, we've had the Savathun Spire with its kind of 3 sets of secrets and stuff. We've had the Altars of Summoning. Like, seasonal offerings, again, this is like, I've seen it on Twitter probably way too much, that people are kind of apathetic to Destiny at the moment with just regards to where things are at, kind of waiting. Travis said this is going to be a tough year, and it's, you know, kind of fitting the way things are going. But the seasonal offering, just in its own like little bubble, they delivered quite a bit.
I agree. It just sucks they have so much other stuff going on and technical issues going on.
Yeah, servers have been rough that I didn't even like. I mean, and at this point now, they've even changed Crota's Necrochasm drops to where they're like, if you waited a couple of weeks with the new buffs for the Oversoul, if you're lucky, you can do it just like contest mode and get it all.
Yep.
Oh,
So, and you're definitely getting more drops. So honestly, waiting paid off for you in that one.
Yeah, I'm glad I waited, because my first clear was after they'd changed the drop rates for that stuff. So
got it.
Yep.
I think I need 10 more. I already have like 10 after one clear.
Yeah, I think you need 20 for the weapon and 15 to get the catalyst on top.
How's Necro?
35 all.
Yep.
Necro's good. How you liking it?
I don't have it yet.
Oh, none of y'all. Okay, I thought y'all. Okay.
Ebontis, or how many things do you have?
Not that many. I only did the raid once. I got and I did it before the buff, and I'm like 4.
I'm in the lead with 10. I'm gonna get Necrochasm before all of y'all.
Bro.
I was like, if I get to do anything this weekend, if I get a chance to play the game I want to play, that's all I'm doing this weekend. So
yeah. By the way, I just heard back from my editor on that one. Apparently, we are getting quote a stack unquote tomorrow, which I think confirms
hopefully
that
going tomorrow then. Okay.
Yeah, you're gonna get it tomorrow.
Nice.
Oh. Sorry if you don't know what we're talking about, chat, but not everything's about you. Okay.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm gonna kind of pass the podcast off to you guys, just being the most clueless on the subjects that we're gonna talk about now.
Yeah.
Well, which one do you want to talk about first?
I guess
you guys hear this? Are you hearing? Have you been hearing all this? This craziness?
No.
I hear a little behind you. What is going on?
It's Fleet Week.
What is that?
Oh, got it. Yeah.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's where the fighter jets break the sound barrier right over my house for an entire week.
I mean, that's kind of cool, but also I get like for
it is super dope. But also when I'm podcasting or doing VO, and it's just and then just my walls are shaking. Yeah.
Who did I see? I think it was Lucy James. Where is she now? GameSpot, if I have that right. I probably
Ubisoft.
Lucy.
Yeah.
Oh,
did you move to Ubisoft?
I don't know, actually. I may have lost track.
So.
But she said she was like recording for a review or something, and it was yesterday when the national alert went off. And she's like, no, bam! And it's like, oh god, like horrible timing. That thing was very loud and it worked. If you had your phone on, you probably couldn't miss that. But
did you guys see somebody they took that alert message and they put the Obi-Wan Kenobi warning after Order 66? You know, he sends out the alert. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to inform that the Republic has fallen. And I was like, dude, if I ever got that message, I'd be like, let's go. Post Clone Wars era. Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah, I mean, it was a controversial week, huh?
A little bit.
Yes. So what is it? They put out the tweet in reference to being Latin. AEOX is more than just a location on a map, just as being Hispanic is more than the language we speak. We are proud to introduce our newest idea, Latin at Bungie. And this thing went pretty viral, like almost close to 5 million views. The Latino community really responded in force, and they definitely do not associate with the term, you know, as far as it being inclusive and how, you know, Latino and, you know, feel. So this was pretty big. And I think the interesting thing that I wanted to comment on was more so, look, I'm not the affected group. So I'm kind of the same boat as you. I'm not the affected group, but I'm empathetic to how the group feels. And the overwhelming majority.
People ever called you by a term you didn't want to
exactly
hear?
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you know, the overwhelming majority is just, hey, this is insensitive, you know, this feels like a hijacking of our language, our culture, And my only concern with this whole thing is, we know Bungie is very political. They like to get out in front of stuff. And I do feel, for the most part, things are good spirited. But the only thing that bothered me outside of, just the shock of all this was they're coming to find out they're like deleting responses and removing replies. And that to me is an indictment, because the part of me says, if you're removing that, you don't like the response you're getting. And then it's like, why won't you take it down is my question. If the overwhelming response is so negative. And yeah, I got theories, but I'll let Travis go because I'm curious to get his thoughts on it. But yeah, this was a rough week. I know it's bad because, again, I get teased for loving Destiny. So whenever there's positive stuff, people are quiet. Whenever Destiny's engagement's high, people are quiet, which has been going on for over 10 years. Destiny has been a long running thing. But the minute there is bad news, I get all my Destiny-hating friends to, Cobb, what's going on with your game? What's going on with Bungie? What's happening? And I'm just like, what happened? And then I saw it, I'm like, oh, no. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. So, Chav, I'm curious, what was your assessment, of this whole situation?
Well, I think it confirms a problem that a lot of people have noticed in the games industry, which is that we are in an industry, especially Bungie, I would say, especially them, are living a bit of a bubble. And I think that bubble is often well-intentioned and a little tone deaf. And Cog, you kind of alluded to this, but the whites have been up to this for a while. They decided that black people were called African American.
Yeah, I think you just made him have a spit take almost on that one.
Because he did it right when I was drinking.
They decided to call black people African American, even though that term doesn't make sense, and black people did not want it. And they were like, nah, we're still going to do it for like 20 years before we finally give up, which is crazy. And, it's well-intentioned, but I don't think, look, my dad is Mexican. Surprise. I put on a sombrero. I'm 50% Mexican, y'all. And all I can tell you is that my abuelita does not like that term, and I happen to know that lots of people don't seem to like that term. And I think you should listen to those communities. And it is interesting that clearly this group was formed, and probably the tweet made by people that are part of this group at Bungie. And so clearly they are probably maybe in the minority that thinks that terminology is important. And that's cool and all, but I think it's pretty clear that's not the way majority of those people feel, and they're happy. They're welcome to feel that way. So
yeah,
do what you do. But yeah, I will say this, and I want to get this out there because it's something that bothered me, especially today. It feels a little hypocritical to have all of these movements that are forward facing. Your PR team is putting out these big press releases and saying, look how diverse we are and look at these groups we have. And then every time we hear about Bungie, not from their PR team, it is disastrous, toxic culture news. And most recently from the incredibly talented IGN reporter, Rebecca Valentine, my colleague and coworker, now putting out this article about them getting sued for potentially some pretty not woke stuff. Let's just put it out.
Yeah.
Put it that way. All right. I don't know, man. It hurts me to see this sort of stuff happening to a game that I like. But I do think that there's self-inflicted wounds. And I think that if you have not read the article, The Battle for the Soul of Bungie, also by Rebecca Valentine and her tremendous reporting that she's done, you should read that, because I think there's a problem at Bungie. And I think there's a lot of good people working for that team that want to change it and are trying their best to change it. But I think there's rot somewhere in that company, and it's making stuff like this look even worse. You know what I mean? Because it's really bad when you have like a very vocal part of the company trying their hardest, and then you see what's actually happening on the other side of things, and it seems like they're not living up to those ideals. So I'm sure there's a lot of people working at Bungie right now who are really pissed off. And it makes mistakes like the ones that they made in that tweet come off even worse, because it just makes them look hypocritical, like they don't practice what they preach, like they don't know what they're doing. People should talk to people that disagree with them and not live in bubbles. That's my personal opinion on the matter. I try to do
well said.
I try to do that, and I think a good way to put yourself in a bubble and ensure that you never learn is blocking comments that you disagree with.
Good point, brother. You cooking.
I feel like they live in a bubble and they're proud of it, and they're making the bubble even stronger and making themselves even less exposed to the community that they're supposed to be serving. And I empathize with that. You know, sometimes it's really obnoxious and exhausting to hear viewpoints that you disagree with, but I think it's an important part of growth, and they need to get over it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert in 0% on the fact that the term was, not well accepted. Didn't know until this all came up. But I think, as you guys said, is like, it's not taking down replies. It's not these things. It's owning your mistake. It's understanding what you did and saying, we apologize. And, we just accept the fact that you messed up and you did it publicly. So it's going to live there forever. And then if you have the ability to, as you said, Travis says, talk with those people, learn a little more, and then, see what you can do to try and address it properly, and talk with the people who are involved. Like, as you guys said, all the communities that are involved in anything that we're talking about, as you guys have both said, it's like, talk with them and learn what you can. Try and become a better person than you were before by having that discussion, because it's not going to be an easy discussion, but it's something that you need to do. It's not hide the comments and those kind of things. And that's kind of one of those, when I saw Cacus did a video about it, it was like massively viral. And then I saw that there was stuff hidden. I was like, oh yeah. And that's just kind of one of those, I expect better, I think, from them.
Yes.
And if you are going to go down that path on something like this, then you're either showing your true colors, which I don't really think, as you said, Travis, I'd like, the whole studio, there's a lot of people that don't agree with this.
Oh, absolutely.
But also on the other side, that's not the way to handle it. It's like, people are going to make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. So it's like, if somebody had a good idea, a group had a good idea, as you said, if they thought this was a good idea within the bubble that they were in, then be like, we messed up. We apologize. It's like, let's see what we can learn from this one, and come back to the table better informed. That's the only thing I can say that might be a good idea. But I'm far from an expert. But yeah, it definitely could be handled better.
I do want to jump in, and I do think, totally agree. I do think Bungie knows this. I think the problem is the corporation aspect when they get involved with these organizations, because I've heard of this organization prior when I've gone to different events. Latinx has been a thing for a little while. So I think this is Bungie trying to be proactive and maybe trying to think they're being sensitive to something, and then now seeing the realistic feedback of said thing. But you've already established this organization that you're maybe champion or behind, and internally you may have your employees already behind it. So, because my main thing was why? I know they know this is offensive to a lot of people. So why is it up? And I think they're caught in the middle, because they've already either established it, set it up, and people at Bungie are empathetic and are riding with some of them, not all of them, with that movement. But now they're like, oh, wow. And then I think they don't know what to do. I think they're a little stuck.
It could also be competing factions. Bungie's trying to do a lot, and they have a trans at Bungie. And I think that community cares a lot about the way that you do that. And so it might have been one of those things where, they put it through the ringer, and then that faction said, oh, it would be inclusive as if you included our pronoun thing at the end of this tweet. And I think when you do that and you try to mix it, is the tweet about the Latin community, or is it about the trans community and the gender struggle, right? Because I think you kind of have to pick a fight, because it just came off as tone deaf. And I don't know, that's one of the things I thought about it, is all right, well, Bungie is at this point, they've got a lot of different factions in there of different people, and they're trying to walk that representation tightrope. And I think it's really hard to do that when one of those tightropes is a very defined community that likes their terms and another group that likes their terms, and you're trying to please both. And so
good
I don't know. Again, it's very well intentioned, obviously, but I would just say, like, you know, to me, the bigger mistake is not addressing it, hiding comments, and then making statements like these when you are apparently firing people based on things you shouldn't be taking into account. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like it sort of was like the perfect storm of bad decisions, and I can forgive the initial decision, but it's really the stuff after that that I'm just like, I don't know, man. You guys could do better for sure.
Absolutely. I was said, tough times. Hopefully it's a learning experience. Hopefully we do get a statement, you know, at some point. And you know, historically they've done the right things after mess ups. I just hope they really address this, because this went outside of just the gaming sphere. I saw this thing everywhere. So the spotlight's on. It's time to, you know, step up and do what they normally do and address. But you can't tell a culture how they supposed to be feel or identify. When they tell you that ain't it, that ain't it. So hopefully they get on it.
Yeah.
So what else going on?
Not a good time for Bungie, despite, you know, the season being one of the stronger ones.
I know that's what sucks.
It sucks. It sucks that the season's one of the stronger ones, because, like, it's just, you know, I want to play this game and they keep giving me reasons to not do it, whether it's the servers breaking or, you know, it's just been a rough go of it for these guys.
It's been a rough go.
Well, as we transition out of what's been a rather bumpy season for many reasons. What's up, Teddy? How you doing?
Hard agree. Dead Clan.
That might be true for a lot of people.
That's me. I got to step it up.
On the other side of it, season 23. I kind of touched on this a little bit before, but I was just kind of curious. We're in this point where now we have a little bit of, we have this idea that, like Savathun says, we know how, we have what we need, whatever it may be. Maybe it's the veil, who knows what it is. We know how
the brain drain on Savathun.
Yeah, I was like, we got whatever we needed. We got the information we needed, and then she still is cunning and riddles and all that fun stuff, which is why
call her?
My wife did this to me earlier too. It's the god of cunning. CUNN. Yeah.
Cunning. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, I thought you were going hard on. I was like, "Wow, you really hate
going hard." Really, we're using that phrase right now.
Yeah,
no, you let you.
Wow, yeah, I thought you were taking out that chitin. You know what
I mean? Anywho, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts.
Get it because they're bugs. Anyway,
I'm done. I'm done with it.
Thank you for explaining the joke. That makes it much funnier.
Yeah, you laughed harder. I'll do anything for a joke. I'm shameless. Anything for a laugh.
That I 100% believe. Like, that's part of your vows. I am shameless.
It's a comic thing. We all will do anything. We'll say anything or do anything to make somebody laugh. It's a problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's. But anyway,
what do we got?
I wanted to get your guys' take. We have now, as we said, we've taken most of the anti-Avengers like out at the knees. Like, everybody seems to be all separated and split up. And then we've got season 23. This supposedly core playlist focus, if I remember correctly. I think that might be part of season 23. LFG, in-game LFG Fireteam Finder coming up.
Oh, yeah.
What are we going to do in the season 23 story?
When does it start?
November 28th.
Okay, gotcha.
I know that because I had to look it up.
Season of member. That's my idea. That's my guess.
Be careful with your word choice with our previous discussions, and now you're talking about your member. Like, come on.
Apostrophe member.
Mm-hmm. What are we doing?
I think it's going to be a remember all those good times season where we literally, that's my guess, because I can't think of any story beats. Yeah, I think it's literally just going to be like, hey, go play all the old stuff and like relive all of your favorite moments leading up to the finale. That's my best guess. I mean, I'm probably wrong. It's probably actually like, hey, we're working on a way to get through the portal now. We need to go and assemble this ship or figure out crack this code so that we can go through the portal. It's probably going to be something like that. But I'm gonna go a different way. I'm gonna say it's like a greatest hits. Get everybody soggy with nostalgia before this final thing. I'm just gonna say that. I have nothing to back it up.
It's an odd but an apt description. Soggy with nostalgia.
Yeah.
Like too much nostalgia and your cereals have gone bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Dog, where do you think Season of the Wish? Yes, we're bringing back Wish Dragons. Well, that would be one way to go a little crazy with it.
Wait, that is the official name?
No.
I thought I was like, y'all got the
Mara
code
comes in. She's got her Ahamkara egg, and then she's gonna get her dragon, and we're gonna get a wish, and that's gonna let us get in the port. No, I have no idea. What do you
got
think?
The code name yet.
No.
I honestly think they're in a weird spot narratively because I felt Season of the Witch could have transitioned in the final shape.
Probably.
Yeah. So to me, now I have to assume we're going to get what I consider the mid-season finale. But you know how before the mid-season finale,
it's like episode 10 of the 16
then you get
episode
the random episode where the story don't move forward and it's a flashback or a character we haven't seen in a while, and we go like now. That's what I'm in because unless it's something I'm missing, what other things do we need to tie up, put a bow on? Like the main thing was getting through that portal that the witness went through without dying. We have the information. We can do that. So technically final shape can start now. So this seems like a holdover season.
Nah, we can't do it yet. We're gonna have to like build it. We're gonna have to like grow a tree that gives us the power to, you know what I mean?
They always do silver wings or something.
Come on.
Yeah,
I know.
We got a weekly
I know.
We've got to do something.
I know. My guess was wrong, but you know exactly how they can pad this out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, there's going to be like some dumb
stuff. Yeah,
there's going to be some dumb bridge we have to build brick by brick to get through the. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be
building the yellow brick road of Asgard.
I'm trying to avoid that thought process, which has been consistent for them. And I'm hoping because, again, with the new narrative focus that they've been preaching, right? And I love the seasonal activity. I thought the lore was good. So I'm like, all right, maybe we get some other build. Yo, Teddy, you a fool. We're going to have to build a bridge of friendship to keep us from going insane in order to enter the port.
I think you're the one that needs the bridge if you're still triumphanting. So, yeah.
Season of the prep. Yo, y'all savage, chat. Y'all savage. Yeah, so I just, hopefully they surprise me. There's another loose thread that we forgot about. Because one thing we did forget, I was shocked no Caiatl involvement with everything that Xivu Arath has done. Like, she destroyed Torobado. Like, they have no homeworld because of her. And again, in the lore, but not in the game, we find out that Caiatl, I think, Ikora had to tell Caiatl, like, hey, we're gonna resurrect Savathun, just so you know that, to try to deal with the sister that blew up your world. And then Caiatl's like, all right, whatever. That's cool. That's cool. It's all good. We trust you. I trust you. As long as at the end of the day, it's to kill, get my hands on Xivu.
That's what you do. Was like, it's a season of building a swimming pool on the moon or something completely unrelated. Just like...
That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the unrelated, non-plot moving. Because we had our man on. What's our man's? That did the he was responsible for the drop pods of Cabal bashing on your skull. What's our man for Bungie? What's our man? Oh man, why am I forgetting his name? The homie.
It's a longer last name, but it's Tom something.
Is it
Brachus Tom? That's his name.
On Twitter, really. Oh, what's our man's? How we forgetting our man?
I know. I feel terrible right now.
I feel awful right now that I forget his last name. But yeah, he was one of the narrative guys that does the seasonal content, and he explained to us there's so much you can do because you have to stay within the parameters of the main expansion story.
Farnsworth, thank you.
Farnsworth, thank you. Yeah. So that's where I'm at. I hope we just get. I know one that we can use. I got it. Season of what the hell is Crow's doing?
Season of the Crow.
Season of the Crow. What is he doing, bro? I walk past this dude. And it's like
Season of like the unemployed is what that is.
Yeah, bro. He don't got a job anymore. He rarely says anything when you walk past him. I feel like it's to the point Bungie know people either don't like him and they know they got the ace in the hole with Cade back. And it's like this dude has been relegated to B actor, C actor level status. Like we don't know. What is his role?
I still want the cinematic where those two be like,
what they mean?
You shot me, right? He's like, yeah, that was kind of a dick move.
Here's my proposal for the season that you're proposing, Cog. The season of the Crow.
Yes.
It opens with we see the final shape trailer, right? The one where it reveals that Cade is coming back, and then it slowly zooms out on the trailer, and we see that Crow is watching the trailer, and then he just looks up at the camera and he goes, and then it cuts the season of the Crow. That's my proposal.
Oh my!
And then the entire season is about Crow preparing for Cade to come back because he knows it's going to happen, and he's like trying to get out of all of these awkward situations, and we're like helping him.
Wall breaking, like...
yeah. You know, like him trying to get his affairs in order because he knows Cade is coming back. You know, moving out like there's one mission, like one of the weeks you have to help Crow move out of the Hunter Vanguard where he's been keeping all the stuff there, right? Like you have to like help him move boxes out and stuff like that. It's like move out. Yeah, you have to help him move out because he's like, you know, trying to make it appear like he was never there and stuff like that.
Bro,
that's my pitch for the Crow season.
Yeah,
I would laugh really hard at the fourth wall break, but they would never do that. But I would.
They would if they would hire me. Let's do it. We're gonna do comedy seasons now.
Comedy seasons
in Destiny.
Hey, they have episodes. Bro. One of those episodes can be the comedic one from Travis.
There you go.
Panic of the Crow.
Love it.
Give Crow some work, man. That boy been hustling for a long time. We need him out there in these streets, man. He got bills to pay. What's going on?
Well, so we had Caiatl with Nightfall. As much or as little as you want to go with that. We had Marasov with Defiance. Obviously, Savathun's going on this time. Last season, I'm even like, what happened last season?
What happened last season?
I'm like, what happened in this game?
Oh, the water. Remember we was with Sloan.
Oh, Asa and Sloan and
we was fishing.
Yeah. Oh,
and we got a little still got a little Sloan this season with the
and I like that like connecting
transition,
like working like the seasons together. And that also proves like Defiance was like, what happened in Defiance? We killed Ikora. That's it. That's all we did. We killed a character because the voice actress is apparently busy or doing other things. I don't know. That was just weird. Yeah, I don't know. It is weird. We're gonna get a dungeon. So that's happening. A dungeon, LFG, season of the core playlist. Season of the friend finder, season of the friend game end game.
This is big. I didn't realize that. Yeah, this is big. What did they say he was doing with the core playlist again?
I think that was what they said at some point. Like season 23 was going to kind of work on. We have no idea. We're going to count down, 7 weeks until we get that season or something like that until we get there. So halfway through the season, and then it'll probably start coming in. Well, probably start in November, I would guess, actually. Yeah, it's like, it is weird because there's going to be the other section of the helm off to the left this time that we use. So we'll go over there and do something. I'm just trying to figure out, like, is it Veil related, do you think?
Oh, yeah. They still got to ooga booga that one. I forgot about
the
that.
Veil, what is part of the key that. Because Savathun's like, we already have it. Whatever we need to get in the portal. What's the one weird big thing in space that we don't really know what we're using? Right. So is it going to be a buildup of like a better and better connection to the Veil over 6 or 7 weeks, and then we finally shoot a beam into the portal again, and then I don't know. I'm making stuff up at this point.
No, you're right. I think it's the mea culpa for Lightfall. You got to explain. Because remember, when they got dragged to how bad Lightfall's story was, we're doing a new thing where we're not going to tell you in the expansion, and during the course of seasons, we're going to play it out. Remember that verbiage? They was talking about holidays. This is a new style. The excuse for it was whack, but we going to give you this content in a new way because it was rushed. We probably shouldn't have put it out, but whatever. Yeah, I think you're on it. I think it's that. I think it's literally we got to get the Veil conclusive part. Do you think we ever deal with the Cloud Striders again and Homie, or no?
God, I hope not. They
Me
suck.
and Muna was a
Dude.
one-off.
They suck. They suck.
It might have been a one-off. We will see. I'm not sure.
Remember that time? Who was the other Cloud Strider?
Oh, was it Nimbus and the
Wrath.
other one? Damn, I can't remember their names. Damn, Nimbus.
It was like Raul or something.
Yeah,
Started with an R.
Rohan.
Rohan.
I knew it was like I was some reference. I was gonna say the Rathlos, but I was like, no, that's Monster Hunter. It's Lord of the Rings.
Remember that time Rohan looked straight into the camera and said that it was his last day on the Force before retirement? Like right at the beginning of that campaign.
Wait, are you quoting Lethal Weapon?
Every time I think of the Cloud Striders, I just think about that moment where as soon as you meet Rohan, you're like, he's gonna die.
Do you remember the moment when he actually had to sacrifice himself because we were tired?
Yes. And he said, I'll see you on the other side, I believe. Which is the cringiest, most overused
then
line
maybe
of dialogue.
We'll see him in the Traveler.
That was
the other side.
I want to see him die again in the Traveler. You think that's possible? Can we get another cliche last action line out of him before he kills himself? Before he sacrifices himself?
Last action hero, like an Arnold Schwarzenegger line.
He is not in the budget for Final
Shape. You guys ever do something and you don't realize what you had until it's gone?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like watching Rohan die. Like I didn't get to enjoy it enough the first time. I would love it.
You need another.
I would love it because next time if he dies again, I'm not gonna let it pass me by. I'm gonna really enjoy every moment.
You're gonna savor this.
Yeah, I'm gonna savor it the second time.
It would be
no, but seriously, screw that character. Screw the Cloud Striders. They suck. They straight suck.
The reason why I don't like you put that
Travis
energy out,
is just cold blooded. He's like,
nope. The
nope.
reason why I don't like him put the energy because every time he's saying Rohan, I'm substituting Cade in my head, and I'm like, no, don't. Could you imagine if they did that to us?
If they kill him again? Oh, that'd be so funny.
I don't think Cade is going to come out of the Traveler. That's the biggest thing. I don't think Cade is anything.
I think Cade is back. I think
he's staying around. I don't think he's going to be anything more than whatever's going on in the Traveler.
So the Traveler's the new helm. He's stuck in there like Crow.
Well, it's not the helm. I think it's like whatever is inside the Traveler is its own like kind of realm created from our memories and stuff like that. And that's how we have an interaction. And like he's going to be the grounding piece of the Vanguard within the Traveler, as I think like your NPC to interact with and stuff like that. I don't think he's coming out. He's not going to be hanging out in the tower when we're done. I don't think so.
No, good. You got a good theory.
That's a guess. I mean,
my only counter is just like, why did they sign him for so long? That's my thing.
They signed him for so long. How do you know how much they signed him for? He's back for Final Shape. That's all we know.
Okay, so you think that's just one-off? Okay, expansion. That's it.
At least for a while. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's back.
I think he's back too.
Sometime in February, we will find out. I think it's the end of February, if I remember correctly. All right, one other topic that's been kind of floating around today. I wanted to ask you guys, since I feel like we can speculate forever, and I really honestly probably am the most clueless on this one right now. Now, maybe we'll get a tease when it comes to the final couple voice messages. Maybe we'll know a little bit more later. Signed on for TV and movie projects too.
Maybe. But so did Lance Reddick. I mean, a lot of those guys now they're just recording from their houses. I feel like it's so much easier for them. Non-committal.
Anyway, Tassie did put out an article. I saw somebody tweet out something I sent to you guys as well, where the luster of the drop is kind of gone, and crafting may have killed it. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on where do you think crafting is 18 months later, post Final Shape.
Okay, I'll start because I will be the dissenting opinion here.
Oh, damn, I was going to be the dissenting opinion.
Oh,
okay. Let you kick. I wasn't expecting this.
Hey, Paul, I need you on this podcast. It's going to be fun. I got another Flash image.
Paul can join and be wrong again on the podcast. It's fine. He's really good at that. No,
he's really good at Diablo. Is what he's good at, right?
Actually, I saw Paul this week. We were ships passing the night. We were at the same Diablo 4 interview, which was fun. Fun to see him. I don't think crafting is in a great spot. So I'll just start saying that out. That I think it could be better, and I think they're making improvements to it too slowly. That said, I do not mourn the death of the drop. I have never really liked the grind to try to get the perfect set of weapons. It strikes me as a waste of time. It forces me to endure replaying the same content over and over again ad nauseum. I realize that some people like that. I'm not that type of player. I'm the type of guy who wants to get the loot that he wants and then bring that into Crucible and have fun and just have fun using it. And so if your problem with crafting is that it takes away some of the fun and randomness and replayability, more power to you. But I disagree that is a problem. I got other games to play, my dude, and I do not want to do the same strikes 15 times. So I don't really care.
Or the same raid.
I don't think it's that big of a problem. That said, I would like them to make crafting better, and I think there are ways to do that. And I think the improvements they've made have been way too sluggish to get there. But like philosophically, I don't have a problem with crafting, and I feel like a lot of people have a problem with the philosophy of it existing at all, and I just disagree with that analysis. I don't think that that's the problem at all.
So interesting. I thought we were going to be on the opposite side of this. I thought we were going at it this one. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think for me, here's the thing. I understand it could be in a better place in the economy as far as the material sometimes was just way too oppressive. The deep site thing was oppressive. They still got to fix the damn seasonal content. Deep site activation is the only source in the battle pass to get that. That's stupid. And that they have to come up with a source. And I'm going to watch them on that because I'm worried they're still trying to throw that in a monetization loop. But I'm in agreement. The thing is this. The reason why I like that crafting exists is because, let's be honest, when you do the raids, and let's look at Vile Disciple, right? You do a wave frame. What's the one that we all love? All the weapons in Vile Disciple are really good, right? And the chances of you getting that God roll, the fusion with Demolitionist and whatever, right? Chill clip, and it's hard, man. It's really hard to get these things. So my thing is forbearance. Thank you. So it's like my thing is there's certain content, for example, like the dungeons and whatever like that, where stuff is not craftable. And if you play that stuff that's not craftable, it really sucks when you don't get what you want, especially after running it a zillion times. So to me, crafting is the good alternative. You get God roll light because generally they don't have origin perks. They don't have all the bells and whistles of the actual, raid item. And you got a little lesser version, but it's comparable, and at least you have a path to get it. So is it perfect?
And it's not like it's easy. You have to
you got to
pay a bunch of materials, and you have to grind to get the same weapon in red border 5 times, and all that other stuff. Like it takes a lot to make them crafted.
I was going to say craftables do have the origin trait, by the way.
I'm sorry, good catch on that. But you know what I mean, E, from the sense of a lot of the non-craftable. Yeah, they don't have that extra juice that makes it super sexy, but the crafted version may be comparable, right? And now I will say though, some combinations with enhance do get a little
like adept versus enhance. Is that what you're saying?
Enhanced perk of a craftable weapon. Some of them are really, really nice, but I feel like you get very unique combinations sometimes with non-craftable stuff or high-end content that sometimes the craftable stuff is not privy to. So I just look at it as a little balance. You can just get in there if you've been unlucky with certain roles or certain archetypes, and it's like, man, I can now craft this. I got a decent, I'm making up the archetype 720 that's now craftable. Hey, it may not be as good as the top level one, but at least I have something, to miss out. So that's where I'm at with it. It could still be better. There's still holes in it. It looks like they're still trying to improve it. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. So I don't have the big anger towards it.
Yeah, it also helps with like end game stuff where like if the meta changes, it's like, all right, well, once you unlock the ability to craft something, you always have it, even if you have to clear out your vault and get rid of everything. And it's nice to be able to not just grab a version from your collection, but to be able to craft a version that will suit you for the current meta. It's just a nice like safety, right? To like, I don't have to worry if my vault's empty because I've got one of every weapon type craftable in my crafting station, and I can make one at any time to adjust to a changing meta or whatever. And even then, it's not free. You still have to pay a bunch of materials, and you have to grind it up to level it up if you want to get the better perks and all that stuff. Like it still takes a lot. It's not like it's it's just I don't have the stomach, man, these days. I review 4 games a month. I don't have the stomach to do the same activity 15 times on a hope of a chance that I'll get the weapon I finally want. It's just not worth it to me.
Yeah, and to your point, bro, you can get so unlucky. You know your Eyes of Tomorrow story. You know,
Dude, I do get unlucky every time, pretty much.
I know people who still don't have Vex. I know people who still don't have certain things, and it's just like, whoa, damn me, really?
I just never rated that much. It's mostly on me, but
it's attempts. You don't have enough attempts.
I don't have enough shots on gold. Yeah, but I also was like, it's the point where like kind of fell off, and then I think we had Deepstone Crypt, and Travis went through like 80. I'm just like, I don't care about the randomness that much. I'm like, I'm not one exotic's not usually missing it for me, and like raid exotics are kind of hit or miss. I will say the raid exotic from the shotgun from Vow is one of the better ones for sure, but like Vex has had its ups and downs and to and fro's and stuff like that, and I'm like, it's a Solar Auto Rifle. I've also got an Amit. I was like, it is a little better, but I'm like, right now that thing's also hitting pretty solid, and that's like a freebie.
Amit. Bro, I've been outside.
So that's I mean, for me, I'm with you guys. So it's like we don't have a dissenting opinion here.
Oh, I thought both of y'all would come on the side of it.
No, it's like for me, I mean, in D1 I was unlucky. It took me a damn year to get a Galahorn. And my buddy had like 9 of those damn things. He was filling up his heavy slot before I almost got mine. Like that was how bad it was. So it's like, I've been down the RNG roll. The raid, I've said this countless times, like raid should have a certain objective to get exotic, whatever that is, do it, and you can get it. Like the contest mode was kind of a unique way to do that for the raid exotic. And then now they're kind of putting a cap on like, 20 or less runs at this point. It's just like, if I'm just going to roll the dice forever, bugs me. And that could just be a point where I'm getting older and a little more mature. And as Travis said, less time to care about running the same raid for the 50th time, because why? It's like, I get the concept now. We've mastered the raid. The raid group's just like, yep, thanks guys for running it once again. I've still been unlucky, and we're about a year later. It's like that doesn't solve anything for anybody. It's like, now do you want raid engagement? Like, find, as you said, like unique perk combinations and stuff like that. That would be great. But also it's like most of the time when it comes to like your weapons and raids, they're craftable now. They all are. So all those combinations are still going to be craftable. Now they are better, but they're still craftable if you can spend the time to unlock it. So you still get around to that point of, if you can unlock a craftable frame in a raid, that's probably just as much time as it would take to like get an exotic, and even longer depending on if you're unlucky.
You got to get it so many times.
Yeah, you got to get the frames, and you got to make sure they're red borders, so you got to buy them at the end and all of that stuff. So it's like, for me, I would be the one who's like, oh, did you get your Feeding Frenzy Volt Shot Ikelos? I'm like, no, I'm like 14 seasons later and I still don't have the gun. Like, that would be me. I know it would be. So the fact that I'm like, I can unlock the frame, I can craft the good gun, and I can use it, I'm okay with that. And I don't know. Now, do I feel less compelled to, like, when somebody said like seasonal guns, do I care about them until I unlock the craftable? I really don't. I know I'm going to get the craftable frames for each one of the seasonal weapons just because you'll play likely enough in the way it's set up. So almost every seasonal weapon, I take the red border off of there, cash in my little like credit, and then I delete every seasonal weapon until I can craft them. And most of the time that works for me, because somebody else said and I think it was Ascendant Nomad, if I remember correctly, he also was like 98% of the weapons in the game don't matter. And that is going to the deeper issue. Yeah, and so Tassie's tweet was, crafting was ultimately a mistake and I will die on that hill. And Nomad was like, I'll do you one better. 99% of the weapons don't matter. And that's kind of the point we're at. Is there a type of weapon that I don't have right now? I mean, do I want to go after the new Nightfall bow? Maybe. But I was like, is it going to do anything different?
I mean, you had that problem before sunsetting as well. Like before sunsetting, where you can just keep one of the best possible type of each weapon and easily store it and pull it out of the vault at any point in time, has the same problem. And I think you need one of the two. You either need a way for people to craft weapons without re-grinding for it every single time because their library is getting so big, or you need to let them keep their weapons and have them always be relevant. But to do neither means that players have to keep grinding for the same thing over and
Right.
over again. And that, I just don't think it's a good way. And some people are saying like, oh, grinding is important to a game. Fine. There's plenty of ways to grind in Destiny. They have us grinding for like seasonal activities. There's lots of other stuff to grind without having to worry about like getting specific drops that we need in the weapons category. And also, the way to get people to play your game has always and will always be creating great content. It's not about the drops. If the game is fun, people will play it.
Yeah, I mean, like Prescott said, it's like sunsetting was a good idea, and we've all been on that train for forever. It's just it was executed poorly. They wiped out way too many weapons. They had too many holes. They didn't have a plan to bring new weapons in on a consistent basis, and that stuff wasn't there. Like if crafting would have been the replacement for sunsetting, totally different discussion. If it would have been like, we are sunsetting, but we are introducing crafting at the same time, that probably would have been a bit of a rougher transition. But then you would have had a different grind to go after. Now you're unlocking frames and then the sunsetting stuff. It's like, and now the fact that we do have craftables, I don't know if they can sunset.
Yeah.
How's that work? Now that you've unlocked a frame, so yeah,
you can.
You can't. So, you're locked in.
Yeah, they're kind of locked into this until they put a 3 on the box and they wipe the whole vault again.
Right, and that's why I said 3 has to happen, because you're getting to the point where it's just like, in defense of them creatively, how many more perks can you come up with?
I mean,
weapon
like
type
Mercules,
it's hard.
I can't remember the other guy's name. The other guy who's always on firing range with Mercules, main weapons guy. I think he's from Australia.
What are you talking about? Super cool dude.
But it's like they keep trying to like get creative without breaking the bank, and they're doing a pretty good job of like really trying to figure out what the limits of like power creep are going to be to do.
I see these new perks. And I'm like, oh wow, I didn't, high ground. I'm like, okay, there's like they're coming up with anything now. I'm like, yo,
Chris Proctor, thank you. Yep,
Chris Proctor. Yeah, kudos to them for being this creative. But at some point, the saturation is there.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if as great as this season is, right? One big negative that I have to point out was the seasonal weapons are kind of bad. Outside of like Emirate, maybe the Fusion, the Solar one.
Scouts okay, and the Fusion's okay.
Yeah, I don't think any of them weapons really stand out, nor any of the perk combinations are that great. Because the what is it? They got like because I've been using hand cannons a lot with the buff, but they got a strand hand cannon with some terrible perks. Nothing really exciting.
Some people like that hand cannon for PvP though. The stats on it, the way it feels, the way the recoil is, that's where some of those are. PvE, and that's sometimes what you get a certain gun, you're like, this is for PvP. That's just what some guns are made for, straight up.
But I feel as a whole, these seasonal weapons, I'm with Austin, they're mid.
Yeah,
I don't think none of them are memorable outside of maybe Emirate with the right combination, because it's a DPS beast. It's like a high aggressive frame, and it can come with, but other than that, I'm just like, to me, I think we're going to get into that pattern. We've got so many great weapons already every season. Sorry.
No, we're going to get Final Shape. We're going to get some more weapons and some more exotics. We're going to get episodes that are going to have more weapons. But it's like, how much more variation without power creep? And then you may as well just sunset at that point, because some of them are just going to be worse. Right. But it's like, Adepts generally for me are not worth the squeeze. It's the tiniest little stat difference that 95% of the player base probably doesn't even know or care about, or could probably tell you the difference of. Some do, like, your PvP elites, and be like, you get a little bit more range. They know those ranges perfectly, and they can push those shots out a little farther. A few people, but it's a short list. And then when you talk about, like, PvE drops, if you have something that's good enough, you're probably going to be okay. You might take one more damage phase, but if you get the mechanics, you understand it. And then when it comes to armor, you've got Artifice armor that is definitely not worth the squeeze, because if you're trying to get the right distribution on an Artifice armor and spend the time in a dungeon to get it, at this point, all it is +3 stats. And if you have a +3, or if you have like a 67 or a 66 normal roll, and you get a 63 and a 64, and it's still a junky distribution, you're like, my normal one is literally still better across the board, because the stats are bad and the +3 doesn't matter. So none of the high level stuff really matters. The aspirational gear, they're still afraid for power creep on that stuff, which means to me, stats on master raids, GMs, and that type of stuff, like stat focusing the way they've done seasonal activities. What is it, like Solstice, where you can focus into like, here's one and then your ghost is another. It's like, set up these two things, and then if you run a master raid, you could get Artifice armor that has this focus and this focus. you could have a better shot as opposed to just rolling the dice, and as a Titan, everything has max mobility. I swear. Titans always have max mobility. So that's my issue with that piece of it, is the fact that most of it is not worth the time to put into it because it doesn't make that much of a difference.
That's how it should be, though. I don't think that crazy 1% should be much more powerful than like the average player, because it introduces a new problem of like, you have to go all in and grind your brains out and make this the only game you ever play if you want to stay competitive and be able to participate in a lot of Destiny content, do trials and stuff like that. So they can't afford to make that stuff too much better than the normal thing. And I don't think it should be, because the people who are hardcore will grind for 1% better anyway. You know what I mean? They do. Clearly they have been for a long time now. So I'm sort of like, yeah, that's how it should be. Give them something to grind for the weirdos, but don't make it so powerful that it feels mandatory for the people who really would prefer not to have to do that. Like me.
Yeah, to me, just that stuff barely feels worth it. There's not much benefit to it. And it's like, that's kind of the wonder, is if they could do certain things. They're like, hey, this is stronger in PvE. If you do want to let the hardcore people go a little harder in Grandmasters and Master Raids and stuff like that, make it a little stronger in there. But again, you've got raid races and other things. So I get where you kind of come back to that point. I don't know. It's just a lot of that high-end stuff doesn't seem that worth it in the long run. And I don't think that's any fault of crafting. I think crafting smooths out the road for the people who can't, as Travis said, live in the game. And if you can get a frame and if you're not around for a certain season and you miss some of that stuff, like last year trying to get the Ikelos or the Retrofit Escapade from some of these things, they're so stingy on the deep site harmonizers still. It's like you get 5 or 6 per season, and you got to get all the way through the season pass to get them all. And here's your 6, which is 1 weapon.
Yeah, no other source to get it but the season pass.
Yeah, and if you don't buy it, it's 3. So then you're totally screwed.
It's a little pay to win, isn't it?
A little bit.
Yeah, little shiesty. Little shiesty.
So I was just kind of curious. It's like, the crafting isn't the issue. I think it is just the saturation of the weapon pool without sunsetting of any kind. It's a deeper issue.
Yeah, I
keep
agree.
Your Forbes articles in your pocket, Paul. God.
Shout out to Tassie. The homie.
I feel there was technically a twid.
There was a twid.
I said twid.
There you go.
Nah.
Twab, bro.
Twab, still twab. Rahul and his exotic focusing is going to be cheaper. They have found for a lot of players, especially new players that don't have access to all these amazing currencies and get them very frequently, that the prices were a little high. So for tier 1 focusing, now we've got 10 enhancement prisms, which you can get those from lost sectors if you want to. And then 2 ascendant shards for tier 2, which is like the specific armor piece. The Zur exotic cipher thing, bye. Zur's getting a whole rework. Like, and now here's the thing. They said Zur, I think it was Joe's like Twitter video, said Zur is getting a rework in final shape. You know, that's not a short process, but still they like, this is not that old of a thing. The exotic focusing might have been with Lightfall, I think. So it's like, they throw a change in there and then they're walking it back. This is 6 months later again, kind of like, it was like, I think sunsetting took 3 months for them to walk it back. This is about 6 months for them to walk back the pricing. And it's just, we're eliminating the exotic cipher cost. Yes, because everyone hates the exotic cipher.
Bro,
go run 21 strikes. I'm like, no.
Bro.
Not doing
and then
that.
you can't stack more than one. Like it gets me. Zur yells at me every week.
Oh, I know.
like, bro,
here's your quest. Oh, you've got one. And if you held on,
you can't do it.
If you finished it during the week and then you turn it in at him, then you can't pick up a new one for the next week, and you got to wait till the next week. I'm like, all right, this is So anyway, that stuff's going to be cheaper and more accessible. That will be on October 17th. So 2 weeks. The Deck of Whispers, there's a kind of blog post about how those were created. There's actually going to be a physical Deck of Whispers that you can get if you go to the Bungie store. Looks kind of cool. There's a small touch on kind of like the mid-season armor and weapons update that probably is coming out about the same time on the 17th. And Teus wards are getting nerfed. Young Amankara Spine is getting nerfed. Let's see, recoil for submachine guns is going up. Auto rifles are getting a few tweaks. If you want to get into the 1.5x and all that, go read it yourself. Pulse rifles getting a couple tweaks, like damage fall off on some of the lighter ones is going to start a little later, so they're going to get pushed out a little bit. Aggressives, ADS scaler will fall off. I mean, this is getting into all the technical. This is what firing range is for.
Surprise pulses got pushed out though, because I feel like, don't you feel like scouts
like
should live in that area? True, but why are pulses outdistancing
because
scouts?
They don't want scouts to be, because they just want you to forget that scouts exist.
It's like scouts and snipers, just they get to work, man. Like, what's going on? Like, no love.
Yeah, I mean, for PvE, snipers are getting some kind of buff. So snipers are getting a little love there for PvE. Fusion rifles, they're saying like to reduce the minimum damage that fusion rifles can deal damage fall off from 50 to 45%. So it's like at the minimum damage that they can do is a little less at max range. So it's like all these weird little tweaks that they're doing. And if you go in the PvP sandbox, it's generally okay. All of these little tweaks are,
I have to be honest,
pretty small at this point.
Played a lot of trials. I was actually okay. Yeah, I wasn't too crazy. The meta wasn't too crazy. I saw a couple of Ignatiuses, a couple of outlier things that people were using, but for the most part, I felt like it was a solid meta for me.
And then when you get to, there we go. Checkmate was another thing. I've actually been seeing people, Brewski and Cammy and Fallout, kind of giving some feedback on Checkmate as just that Crucible Labs game mode. They're enjoying it mostly, I think. And they're making a couple of changes, like less heavy ammo, literally half the time for spawning, or double the time for the spawns. The games were a little fast, and since it's in Crucible Labs, not that many people are playing, so they're bumping up the total score to win so the matches last a little bit longer. But I think the PvP hardcore are enjoying Crucible in the grand scheme of things. I think I saw one video where one person wasn't, but overall for the PvP base, I think Checkmate is something people are enjoying. Less abilities, more about weapons, less special ammo. Got to be deliberate with the couple, like the one shot that you do get. You don't get it when you respawn. Very much primary kind of gameplay. So some people are going double primaries, back to that a little bit. It has a little bit of hand cannon in the game mode from what I heard. Because it's all about just time to kill and peak shooting, and you need less time on target than pretty much any other gun with those. So if you're playing well, hand cannons are going to be the best one to go. Yes, I know this is going to bring you back to your Sturm discussion. As I said, from a PvE mind, that is why I rated it low. I haven't used it since the hand cannon buffs, and if you got lucky pants, it could be smashing. Who knows?
You see what I'd have to deal with every week, Alvin? You think you're still there?
Anywho, Checkmate is one of those, even like when they did their Firing Range podcast, they were talking about it, and Drewski's like, that could just be competitive all the time. I mean, there's a point where they're saying it could be something like that, or at least a modifier sometimes in trials, really more towards kind of game gunplay, much less abilities, which...
Yeah, I got to play it. I haven't played it yet. I'm going to try it.
I haven't played it either, but for the people who want more actual gunplay and less ability spam, seems like it's going in the right direction. Future stuff, they said increased base PvE damage for glaives and sniper rifles, increased damage against minor combatants for pulse rifles and auto rifles, which is probably better for like your higher difficulty activities, because res bars probably take a while there, and then greatly increased damage against champions for Revision 0 and Vex Mythic Class.
Wait. Champions for Vex, Vex doesn't have any anti-champion properties. Why is that listed? That's interesting, because Revision 0 makes sense. It has anti-barrier intrinsic.
Yeah.
That's Vex
just in
I think, doesn't it, in its alternate fire mode?
Linear fusion when it does, but yeah, I don't remember having like an overload.
Either it's getting a change next season,
they might have slipped. Yeah.
Or it's just when it's considered like an auto rifle, it's still not hitting that hard. And
maybe good call. Yeah. And they are increasing. Yeah, good point.
So a couple things like that.
My glaives, man, I get to the exotic glaives. I want to use the healing one. I want to use that one. They better fix that, because
those need rebuilt. So hopefully they are.
So that's next season, though, right?
Yep. Yeah, next season, I don't know what they're going to be doing. We get LFG, we get a new dungeon, we get some story to lead into Final Shape, which is usually a banger story going into an expansion. Like, Witch Queen was good. Pre-Witch Queen was good. Seraph was good.
Yeah.
Arrivals was still pretty good for story. Like,
Yeah.
they got to have some story, and I don't think I've felt more clueless about what it could be at this point. It's really weird.
Yeah, because we don't really have a lead up.
Oh, yeah, and the Thorn Catalyst. Forgot about that.
Yes.
So, like my idea. Curb Your Enthusiasm, starring Crow.
I mean, I want to see the alternate. I just want to like peek into the alternate universe because I just want to see what that plays out like. Because I want to see Bungie break the fourth wall, go hilarious with Crow. The opening of him watching the trailer and pans out, oh, boo, and just like cuts, like that was perfect.
Ridiculous.
It would be great.
I would love to peek into that alternate reality. That's about all I got, though. I think we kind of covered quite a bit, I would say.
Yeah, man. Fun to be back. I must admit, it felt good to get caught up and consistent. But yeah, to your point, just got to see where this thing's going to go because I really am clueless. You said it perfectly. Normally, we know exactly that lead up right before that season. That's going, and I'm like, well, this was it. So what you going to do now? Like, okay, so it's clearly, we'll see. Veil. Better not be Zevu yet, hopefully, because we need
to kill Zevu in a dungeon. I really hope not.
They do that.
I mean, a dungeon would be at least a little bigger fight than a season, but I'm like, I think it's Zevu's got to be like episode 3. Later. I think that's where that's going to be.
Yeah, she's got to be later. But we'll see.
Only thing I'm wondering now is if I'm going to buy like a direct drive steering wheel and spend all the money on a crazy rig because I'm having fun. And then
buy the chair.
So Logitech,
that's my recommendation. Buy the chair that you can bolt
it all to. Yeah, that way you're not
and the pedals because you get your. Dude, I've used one of those and I've been dreaming about buying one for a really long time, but I just don't have room for it in my San Francisco home.
So the one that I was looking at, Logitech actually just dropped a new one, and it's like, it's got different like heights for sitting position, which would be good for like different people if they come over for different heights, but also the way it will like collapse and fold up. If you just like pop the steering wheel off, like it looks like it should fold together pretty well for storage, as opposed, and it's just a slight step up from one my buddy has, because he has like a chair that's like on the lower end because he got the really good wheel, but he needed a place to actually sit. Kind of like you said, you can't push the pedals away from you. But then it's like, then you get into, do you go with like a steering wheel or a little better steering wheel? Then do you get the pedals with the load cell? So it's actually a little more true brake pressure, not just the travel. And I'm like, there goes $1,000. It's not hard to spend $1,000. And I'm just like,
easy.
I see no problem.
Do your thing, man.
I see this as an absolute win.
It's your game, bruh.
I was like, if my sponsored video can hold on to its legs for a little bit longer, maybe, but yeah.
I'll say 2 things to add fuel to the fire.
Oh, good. Please do.
One, that Ains has been playing it on controller and he says that it feels absolutely amazing. And 2, I read an article recently. Was it an article or was somebody just telling me this who works in the industry? Somebody was telling me, or I read it somewhere, that apparently people are performing better on the wheel than with mouse, keyboard, or gamepad.
Oh, you 100% will. That's
crazy. Which is crazy that they're performing better. I would have never guessed that.
Y'all were laughing at me when I interviewed Chris Asaki.
I would have never guessed that, though.
The wheel will make it, like, my buddy has a wheel, and even it's even just like, I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm like, my dexterity is reasonable. I'm 40, but it's still pretty good. But it's like, it's literally just when you're like, oh, you want to start a turn, you go chink, and you can just hold the turn the entire time if it's a long sweeper or something like that. And then it's also the feel of a brake pedal. Yeah. Instead of just the travel of the triggers, it's not distance of like this, it's actual muscle memory of how hard you brake. And that's why when you get into the load cell, and that's what, like, the wheels can be decent, but the pedals are almost more important from what I've actually heard.
That's why they said they rebuilt it from the ground up. They said the wheels guys had a disadvantage prior Forzas.
Well, I mean, you've also got like iRacing, Assetto Corsa, like sim racing is blowing up, especially with the expansion of like Formula One, and the Americas is really popular with Drive to Survive and all that stuff. So you've got, I mean, Logitech came out with a direct drive one, and this thing's sitting here, I'm looking at it, I'm like, ow.
Yeah, do it.
That's a big money drop. And I'm like, I know it's probably a game I will play
It's
a
a
lot.
platform that's going to evolve.
I literally said that in my review. Literally said that in my review. I was like, this is going to be a platform. There's no number on the box. This is what they're going to support for years to come. I get that. It's just not a small amount of money. That's all I'm saying.
Do it. You're a big time YouTuber. Do it.
Big time YouTuber. Thanks.
Big time, bro. 100K. Come on. Do it. Got the plaque. Let's go.
Get the plaque.
Blow it all.
Well, you want to know the worst part is right now? Like Logitech is doing a sale.
He doesn't brush his teeth. That's why he has the plaque.
I was 1 or 2 seconds slow on that one, and I'm like, oh. That's like too many dad jokes at that point. No, Logitech is doing a sale, so they're like 15% off one item. So it takes the wheel down by like $150.
There
and then it's 30% off the second item, which takes the pedals down a chunk. So it's like you're almost saving what the chair is going to cost. And I'm like, but it's only for a few more days. And I'm just like,
let's go. That's it.
It's rough, man.
That's it, man. Come on, man. Ramen noodles for like 2 weeks.
I don't buy that much stuff. Like I don't buy suits and clothes, and I wear a bunch of like shitty t-shirts.
Let's go. Big time. You work hard, bro. You need this. Racing is your favorite. Let's go.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the way to play those games. It's more just like the long term, but also I'm like, put the wheel back there, and I'm sitting there like maybe I get to play Lords of the Fallen soon, or when it does come out on next week, then I play that one, and then if I'm playing other stuff, it's
unboxing video wheel. Let's go.
Unboxing review pay for itself. Comparison to the controller.
There it is. Yup, controller versus thing. The difference is come on. I just gave you content, bro. Come on.
What I need, set up an LLC. This is now a business expense for the channel.
Damn, taxes.
Travis is trying to Jedi mind me into buy it or not buy it. I was like, which way you're trying to like turn the switch right now? Which way are we going?
I think you're about to find out.
You send this on? Okay. Yeah, you're gonna do that. That's a go. Ah,
buddy.
There we go. That's what's up.
That was not necessary.
There we go. God, the fun has started. There it is.
Let's do it.
The Ebontis Gaming Wheel Fund. I appreciate
doing it.
I appreciate
Ebontis Gaming Wheel Fund. Everybody.
Yes.
I come back next week. I come back next week and I'm just wearing a racing helmet for the entire podcast.
Yeah.
I have a lapel mic tucked up in here so you guys can hear me.
All I ask is that there we go. We're starting it.
Let's go.
All we ask is that our faces go on your NASCAR when you make it big, because you're sponsored by us.
Okay,
so
that's fair. That's fair.
Gotta plaster your suit and your racing wheel,
guys.
Oh, it's coming in. It's going. There you go.
See, we're doing it. He's getting that wheel, baby.
That's it.
Oh, he's up in the game. All right, he's calling.
Geeks with the $20 super chat. OG TK Cole with the $10 super chat, and Travis, the OG Wheel Fund starter with the $10 super chat. Thank you very much.
Right, guys.
Thank you very much, all you guys. I am so on the fence because I've used my buddies for Formula One, and it is like I sat down and like he's faster than me because he's been playing the game a lot, but I'm just like, I mean, I sent you guys the video of me driving on a track. Cog, what are you doing?
Doing it. It's
Cog
going
over
in,
here
baby.
with the $20 super chat.
Bro, you already got like $50 or $60.
Yeah,
$60.
Yeah,
got it, man.
I guess I just have to buy it right now. Hold on, let me go to
Let me
go to checkout. You know the only problem right now is the seat that I want is actually sold out.
Oh,
they're not interchangeable, kind of. Like,
I mean, you can, but I was like, it's just
how much the seats cost.
That seat's $3, and that's on the low end.
Yeah, I looked at. They were usually like $300 from the ones I saw.
Yeah,
and
that's the low
like
end.
150, 200.
Yeah. But I mean, there's $1,500, $2,500 seats, triple monitor rigs, $2,000 just direct drive motors on top of a Formula One wheel with like $500 pedals. Like, just start running up the tally if you want to go crazy. That's why I was like, I am trying not to go that crazy. Good thing Chris Sharp isn't here. Chris Sharp has already sent me halfway to purchase this thing with his support previously. So he's been a legend in the donations. So, all right. Well, on your guys' amazing generosity, I'm gonna probably try to wrap this thing up. So you guys,
yeah.
But Travis, what you got cooking? What's in the oven, sir?
Yes. So I've got 2 previews that went live this week. One is for Frostpunk 2, which is the sequel to a really cool kind of society simulator game, and the second one is, as my headline was, less frost and more punks in Frostpunk 2. And I also did a preview for a game called The Altars, which is a really interesting game where a guy is marooned on a planet and has to make clones of himself to survive and rebuild his space station, which is pretty interesting. So you get to see a character with a whole bunch of different alternate versions and different life paths and stuff. Yeah, the original Frostpunk is amazing. Such a good game.
I heard that was like kind of like a... That sounded like a dragon outside.
Yo, that sounded, now I heard it. I was like, damn.
Oh my God,
here
guys.
we go.
That's right. We're doing
Reginald
it. Halfway there.
With the $49.99 with the super chat. It's literally already over $100, guys. This is
Reginald is matching all donations made today.
Whoa! I don't know if he committed to that. Travis just spent some of your money.
Apparently, he just doubled the fund. I mean, that's
pretty much. But geez.
Yeah. And then my next review is The Lords of the Fallen, which goes live on the 12th of October. I can't talk about it before then, but I'm going to have a lot to say, and I'm probably going to beat the game tomorrow. I'm going to play tonight, but I don't think I'm close enough to beat it. And then, yeah, I'll have lots to say when that happens. Yeah, that's it. Follow me on Twitter, Guy Travis, or X, or whatever we're calling it these days.
Be careful with the X's out here, man.
Just don't search.
That's right.
Don't search X too many times. You might fall.
It's called Twitter X/A/E/.
Gas money from Outsanity. There's
Outsanity. Salute. Yeah.
$10 super chat from Outsanity for some gas money.
Okay,
I don't know how many people have seen this movie. It's not the best movie. There is one scene in it though that I really like. It's called Driven. Sylvester Stallone. It's an IndyCar movie. And there's a point to where Sylvester Stallone's like the retired driver and he's got to come back and help the young kid. Old school, like, I mean, that's the trope for sure. But there's a point where he has to come back and kind of prove that he's still got like the driving chops. And he's out there doing his like demo lap. And like he goes out there, burns out of the pits and kind of working through what he's doing. And they're like, what'd you give him? And it's just like gas money. And it's like, and that's all he gave him. And then he goes through and does this ridiculous over the top thing. It's just one of those little moments. Like it's a line. It's a little tiny line in that movie. And it's just like well delivered, short and sweet, but it's just like, it's perfect. It's just like, it's an IndyCar. It's like gas money's ridiculous, but what'd you give him? Gas money.
Yes.
And it's just like one of those. So no, I have unfortunately seen it. I was like, I never said it was a great. Now, when they're driving through the city, that is actually legit. They're driving 2 Indy cars. Probably
I don't
very.
Like Indy.
Yeah, it's an older movie. There's one song in there in the soundtrack that I kind of hit a jam to, and it's got some real cheesiness to it. Like honestly, the Gran Turismo movie recently was actually pretty damn good. Driven, cheeseball, but you know.
Yeah, sometimes you need a good cheese ball.
Yeah, it's got Ronnie Bass from Remember the Titans. The Sunshine.
Yeah.
It's got him in there, so
nice.
Uh,
But it's a fun little. It ain't Days of Thunder. See, exactly. Like there are. It's okay.
Fast and Furious. Can't beat it.
Yeah. Days of Thunder, also a great movie. That's like Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise kind of getting started, but Days of Thunder is a good. Days of Thunder is one of those like you say like Tom Cruise did a NASCAR movie, and you're like, what?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but it's actually a pretty good one. Who's the other one? Is it Randy Quaid? I think it might be. I'm saying it wrong though. See, okay. Shout out to last week. Yeah. Last week we did nothing but talk about movies for literally 2 hours. With James
it was a whole movie show.
Last week was IRL Guardian, so that was a fun one. Robert Duvall, Randy Quaid, Carrie Elwes, Michael Rooker, Nicole Kidman, Tom Cruise. Like the cast it's solid. It's a good movie. What are you working on, Cog?
Nothing. I'm actually happy. Like rare. The only thing I got going is me and Maddie have to do our annual gaming
physical.
studio.
I thought you were gonna say
What? Physical?
You're like annual. I'm like annual physical. Like, what do you guys got?
Fantasy, gaming studio fantasy draft. So it's like what we do is we go through. We think what games are going to come out next year, and then but it's like we got these little caveats. Now you have to say whatever the date is. You have to guess the month, and then if it's going to have
oddly specific on some of those.
Yeah. So because you get bonus points.
Doing like now you're going for like. Please tell him to not put Fable on that list for next year.
Oh, I told him he was shooting for the stars. He had Fable, State of the Game.
Was that the one you recorded yesterday? Was that Duke's yesterday?
We didn't know. We haven't recorded the new one yet. We're good. This is gonna be
last time
ultimate.
He was way off.
Yeah, bro.
Like,
he was.
He wanted like Xbox's record year for all time. Like it would have been.
If the releases came out that he said, grown men would have been crying in the shit faces. It would have been like Xbox Field of Dream. I'm like, bro, none of that's happening. Not all in 1 year.
Like Phil Spencer wants like a solid Xbox Studios game per quarter. He wanted the biggest bangers every month. It was
so I knew I smoked him. I like doubled his score. I was like 2,000
I was like, I knew he was not going to win that one.
So I know now he's learned his lesson. So we got to do our thing now. So we're going to predict for 2024 again the games that we think Xbox Game Studios are going to come out with. You know what the potential release month is, and then
where you drafting Hellblade.
I know, but then we got to see how the one is going to go together.
I guess too.
Those are it's a lot of stuff.
One of you each is going to get one of those, I think.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. It's always fun to do that one. So we got that, and then ILP this Sunday, just talking about the news, all the latest stuff going on, and that's pretty much it. I actually get a chance to catch up on some games, so I want to get back to Phantom Liberty. Start that up.
I need to play that whole damn thing.
I'm gonna get back to that after Lords of the Fallen. I was having fun with it before.
Yeah, Travis, I never did.
A lot better.
Yes, I always did Street Kid, and I started out as corporal. I'm like, oh, I love this. This is just feisty, evil. I'm all about the corporate concept.
I've now seen all of the intros, and I heard that the one where you're a car guy,
Nomad or something.
Nomad, yeah. I heard that Nomad was the best one, so I did that one on the advice of everyone else, and I disagree. I was just like, I think Street Kid's the best
for the
one.
few hours I did that one to start, I was like, yeah, I'll try something else when I go back. Yeah, Corpo is interesting, but to me, honestly, Street Kid just feels like the most organic choice.
Yeah, Street Kid was fun.
Now, this is a question for you guys. I have seen some tweets say, as Phantom Liberty's come out and people are getting back into that one, what is that? Has that affected your thoughts on Starfield at all?
I think it has. I will say this. I was very happy this week in the IGN Slack. Somebody posted a Reddit thread that was a bunch of people going, hey guys, now that Starfield's been out for a while, I think we all owe IGN an apology for their review. And I was like, and the vast majority of the comments were like, yep. Yeah, I mean, I could see an 8, but a 7 is definitely not a crazy choice. And there was actually more backlash in that thread to the people that gave it a perfect score, because they were just like, really, a perfect score for this game? Like, I don't see how anybody could give this game a 10 out of 10. And it was sort of talking about all of the different outlets that gave it a 10. And, sometimes history is kind to you. And I think the IGN review is a lot closer to my opinion than a lot of the reviews that are out there day one of the Starfield review. So I think in retrospect, people are starting to realize that, it was what it was. It's crazy how quickly Starfield has completely dropped off the conversation. I mean, it dominated for like 2 weeks, and I see nothing of it now. I don't see people talking
dominating on Xbox as far as most games played, but on Steam, I heard it's technically busted. Like the reviews, I don't know. Like,
Steam
I heard this.
Maybe
I heard the Steam reviews. Yeah, they're getting bombed. But for me, as far as your question,
top played on Xbox is a pretty small group of. It's a small plurality. I mean,
I can't with him, man. I got
all 7 players on Xbox. 5.
I mean,
that shut his mic off.
I'm just saying. It's not that big.
That was pure savage. We're gonna let that go. But
you know what I will say though is like
I'm an Xbox player. This is like
we've had some big games, but I will say stuff like Cocoon and Sea of Stars, like some indies that have been damn near 90s and 9s and stuff like that. I'm like, that's the stuff I do love to see. Like those type of gems getting all the love. Those are some of the ones I want to play before the end of the year. That'll be like my November, December timeframe.
No, but I was going to say to your point, in fairness to Starfield, Cyberpunk had 3 years to fix a busted game that literally did not work at launch. It was one of the travesties in gaming. It got delisted from a thing. So let's pump the brakes. Oh, no, I know everybody likes where it's at now. I'm all for it, bro. I'm so championing them. What did they did? Like 25 million, some crazy stat today.
They had a big. I think it was.
I am so for them. But yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is. I think with Starfield,
a more fair comparison would be to compare Starfield in 3 years to what Cyberpunk is right now.
Exactly, and I do think Starfield will be a forever game with the mods, expansions, and things that they add to it. You know what I'm saying? And that it'll eventually get to what maybe they wanted to do. Because my issue is more the procedural stuff. I have no desire to go to it. So I feel there's a huge chunk of the game I'm not even playing because there's no incentive for me. I want to do the questing and do all that stuff. So yeah, I'm with you guys on that. We'll see like 3 years down the road how does Starfield evolve, improve, or whatever.
I think it will be a good game in a while. It's just like at launch, the people who were saying it was like the best game ever, like Paul Tassi's review, I read that and I was just like, I mean, more power to them. Everybody got their opinion, but I'm like, I don't see it, man. I played a lot of that game and I'm like,
very polarizing.
So it's polarizing. It is. It's one of those games where it either clicks with you or it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
More common, it doesn't click with you for a long time and then you stick with it and eventually you start to like it more. So
yeah, it is kind of one of the. I think what I saw was a tweet that probably prompted this whole question was it is showing that like the dialogue between you and another person, that stuff's getting old. And I mean, it was a comparison. I think it was I don't know if it was who the character was talking to, but it's like the animations of how the person's moving. They walk up, light a cigarette in the middle of dialogue.
Energy. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I agree with
that. Piece of it specifically, that
won't
the creation
age
well.
Engine shows his age on that. I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's like, I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn, when I looked it up for my review, I'm like, Aloy and this character like showing just emotion in the face and everything. And then I saw something where like the eyes don't smile. Have you? I don't know if you guys ever watched How I Met Your Mother, but it's the captain, and they're going through trying to figure out why he's so scary. And they're like, he's smiling, and then up here it's like he wants to kill you, and he's like going back and forth, and it's like the eyes don't smile in Starfield. And somebody showed me that, and I'm like, oh. And that like broke everything. But it's those moments.
A developer explained why the eyes don't smile in Starfield. Yeah, a developer, actually IGN published an article based on this tweet thread, but a developer who does animations was like, here is exactly why the Starfield characters look dead-eyed, and he did like some like graphing. He explained like this is why you feel weird when you look into these characters' eyes. Which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh. Like, I mean, that's why I was like, I had subtitles on and I was just reading the subtitles the whole time because I would much rather listen to the voices, which were well done. No, but like, I was listening to the voices.
Like that? Wow.
The voice acting's good, but
the faces are a struggle sometimes to look at on a lot of the characters.
They remind me of Mass Effect Andromeda a little bit.
You guys are scarred. I guess I didn't have that experience.
I like the game. But it was like, probably 7 or 8 for me, but
yeah. But it's also like Baldur's Gate this year that could be game of the year for a lot of outlets and stuff like that. Just because it's, I don't have time to play that game, but man, I would like. I have not played that, but I was like to ever like do like my own little D&D campaign. It just seems like whatever you choose, it's going to have some type of consequence. Cause I've heard you can mess up some faction and you come back to some area later and you don't have like support forces to call in. I'm like, and that was hours ago. It's not like you can go reload a save or anything. So,
I have 60 hours in that game and I feel like I haven't played it either.
I heard it was like 150. Like if you're really going to go through it, like for real.
Dude, I don't even think I made it through Act 1.
Yeah, I've heard that Act 1 is easy. Like,
it takes hell long, dude. It takes hell long. Then again, I was playing on the hardest difficulty because
you're savage. You're savage. You're savage.
Yeah.
For me, hopefully I do get a chance to have access to Lords of the Fallen so I can get something ready for next week.
You'll get it tomorrow. We're getting a stack of codes.
Hopefully. My goal is to play that over the weekend, trying to get something prepped for launch and a tips video and a guide and see what I can help with on that one again. And I did get a code for Assassin's Creed. Still have never played one. This might be a weird place to start, I've heard.
But you've never played an Assassin's Creed game ever?
Big old goose egg.
Wow. Ebontis doesn't play games. I thought we went over this, Cog.
I played a lot of Destiny for too many years and I have missed some stuff, okay?
Yeah.
And that's like a franchise.
He doesn't play games. He's a fake gamer girl with cat ear. You know, the cat.
Don't give him the cat ears and anything. Come on,
I'll put the cat. Sure. So next time, what's going to happen? I'm going to be in a racing chair with a racing seat and cat ears on my helmet.
Yeah, and you're gonna
don't forget like that.
Don't forget to sell your bathwater too. You got to do that.
I'll bottle it up. I'll bottle it up.
Bottle it up.
What's the going rate? Negative $4,500. I have to pay people money to look at this stuff.
Hilarious.
I mean, I am a cheetah. That's fair. I need the cheetah ears is what I need. I need cheetah ears.
That would be good. I think I would have to. I think that would be my last episode. The episode where Ebontis shows up with cheetah ears over his head. So I'd be like, all right, I'm out. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna head out, y'all. Peace. Oh no! Don't do this to me. Oh God.
Mm-hmm. Some point,
right, I'm gonna head out.
All right. Thank you, chat. You guys have been amazing for this last like half hour of ridiculousness. Cosplay as American Stig. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, for episode number 266, I think now, or 7. It might be 267. I might need to update the number. Anyway, for the episode of October 5th,
we're missing a word.
The last word. Have a good one.